morning, good morning, good morning. Come on in, like the video as you guys come in. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting the channel. We're going to get into some hot topics, trending topics. But thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Media 21. We're trending topics, what's going on around the world. I'm trying to debate if I want to do hot topics first. But let's get into what's going on. And I'll decide in a minute. Because I was just going to go from this, but then there's so much still going on. So let me go ahead and get into my disclaimer so I can protect my page. We always do our disclaimer, copyright disclaimer for sure, to protect the page. So just allow me a moment. It normally takes people a few minutes to come in anyway. Okay. Copyright Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged in our opinion and for entertainment purposes only. Thanks for being here, everyone. Thanks for supporting the channel. We're going to go ahead and get straight into the news, what's being talked about, and we're going to kind of go from there. So let me play this video first. So Trump is kind of doubling down in regards to the possible $2,000 that he alleged promised the people. So we're going to get to this first.
Dividends to our middle income people and lower income people of about $2,000, and we're going to use the remaining tariffs to lower our debt. We're going to be lowering our debt, which is a national security thing. So we're doing a lot of good work. The numbers were reported so incorrectly. The real numbers are trillions of dollars have been taken in or gotten in terms of investment from the tariffs. And so if that were ever reversed, it would be a disaster. Frankly, it would be a national security problem for our country. And nobody thinks it's going to be reversed. I think we had a very good court case. As you know, it's before the Supreme Court right now. But if that were ever reversed, people say, oh, it's $1 billion. Some people said, oh, it's $2 billion. Well, that obviously we can handle very easily. But this is trillions of dollars we're talking about in terms of the tariff income and all the investment income that's coming. We're going to issue a dividend to our middle income people and lower income people of about $2,000, and we're going to use the remaining tariffs to lower our debt. We're going to be lowering our debt, which is a national security thing. So we're doing a lot of good work. And the numbers were reported so incorrectly. The real numbers are trillions of dollars have been taken in or gotten in terms of investment from the tariffs. And so if that were ever reversed, it would be a disaster. Frankly, it would be a national security problem for our country. And nobody thinks it's going to be reversed. I think we had a very good court case. As you know, it's before the Supreme Court right now.
Good morning.
But if that were ever reversed, people say, oh, it's $1 billion. Some people said, oh, it's $2 billion. Well, that obviously we can handle very easily. But this is trillions of dollars we're talking about in terms of the tariff income and all the investment income that's come into our country. We're going to issue a dividend to our middle income.
So let's continue with the news.
The $2,000 dividend could come in lots of forms, in lots of ways, George. It could be just the tax decreases that we are seeing on the president's agenda. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, deductibility of auto loans. So, those are substantial deductions that, are being financed in the tax bill.
So they may not send out a check to people.
The $2,000 dividend could come in lots of
Good morning.
In lots of ways, George. It could be just the tax decreases that we are seeing on the president's agenda. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, deductibility of auto loans. So, those are substantial deductions that, are being financed in the tax bill.
So they're trying to say it's going to be within tax cuts. He must have not thought about, okay, you're going to have to pass this through Congress. Remember, he's been talking about this $1,000, $2,000 for the longest. Where's the money? Remember how they said that it was going to be through crypto or whatever? So now he's
It could the $2,000 dividend could come in lots of forms, in lots of ways, George. It could be just the tax decreases that we are seeing on the president's agenda. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, deductibility of auto loans. So, those are substantial deductions that, are.
That's not what he said, though.
Who are middle income people and lower income people of about $2,000. And we're going to use the remaining tariffs to lower our debt. We're going to be lowering our debt, which is a national security thing. So we're doing a lot of good work. The numbers were reported so incorrect. The real numbers are trillions of dollars have been taken in or gotten in terms of investment from the tariffs. And so if that were ever reversed, it would be a disaster. Frankly, it would be a national security problem for our country. And nobody thinks it's going to be reversed. I think we had a very good court case. As you know, it's before the Supreme Court right now. But if that were ever reversed, people are saying, oh, it's $1 billion. Some people said, oh, it's $2 billion. Well, that obviously we can handle very easily. But this is trillions of dollars we're talking about in terms of the tariff income and all the investment income that's come into our country. We're going to issue a dividend to our middle income people and lower income people of about $2,000. And we're going to use the remaining tariffs to lower our debt. We're going to be lowering our debt, which is a national security thing. So we're doing a lot of good work. The numbers were reported so incorrectly. The real numbers are trillions of dollars have been taken in or gotten in terms of investment from the tariffs. And so if that were ever reversed, it would be a disaster. Frankly, it would be a national security problem for our country. And nobody thinks it's going to be reversed. I think we had a very good court case. As you know, it's before the Supreme Court right now. But if that were ever reversed, people are saying, oh, it's $1 billion. Some people said, oh, it's $2 billion. Well, that obviously we can handle very easily. But this is trillions of dollars we're talking about in terms of the tariff income and all the investment income that's come into our country. We're going to issue a dividend to...
Let's continue with the next subject.
Going to go back to normal once the government
travel,
all the air travel
better than normal. You know why?
When the government reopens.
Yeah, sure. It'll be much better than normal because we're buying the most sophisticated avionics and technology for our control towers, and we didn't have that. We had a guy named Buttigieg. Edge is the best way. Just say two edges, like off the edge of a cliff, which is where they were taking us, by the way. Buttigieg was the Secretary of Transportation, and he spent billions of dollars trying to patch together our air traffic control system, which was a conglomeration of all different systems in all different cities. They had hundreds of companies working on it, and they were spending billions of dollars. And when they turned it on, it didn't work. It didn't even work a little bit. That's why you had a helicopter crashing into an airplane, that if we had a great system, bells and whistles would have started going off.
Can you guarantee to Americans that travel is going to go back to normal once the government... all the air travel...
better than normal. You know why?
When the government reopens.
Yeah, sure. It'll be much better than normal because we're buying the most sophisticated avionics and technology for our control towers. And we didn't have that. We had a guy named Buttigieg. Edge is the best way. Just say two edges, like off the edge of a cliff, which is where they were taking us, by the way. Buttigieg was the Secretary of Transportation, and he spent billions of dollars trying to patch together our air traffic control system, which was a conglomeration of all different systems in all different cities. They had hundreds of companies working on it, and they were spending billions of dollars. And when they turned it on, it didn't work. It didn't even work a little bit. That's why you had a helicopter crashing into an airplane, that if we had a great system, bells and whistles would have started going off.
So why
guarantee to Americans that...
So why it's been shut down and not doing so well? Why haven't they been doing that? So okay, so let's keep going. Let's keep going, y'all. Today, okay, I'm a get to this. Prince Harry is getting backlash because they've been talking about collabing with the Kardashians, but we're going to get to that. The Kardashians have been putting that out too, but we'll get to them in a minute. Hold on. Like the video as y'all come in.
I don't know. I'll get it from someplace. I'll get it from, I always get the money.
Hold on.
Sending them a $10,000 bonus.
Where's that money coming from?
I don't know. I'll get it from someplace. I'll get it from, I always get the money from someplace regardless. There were a lot of them.
Housing costs.
There were a lot of them. I'm sending them a $10,000 bonus.
Where's that money coming from?
I don't know. I'll get it from someplace. I'll get it from, I always get the money from someplace regardless. There were a lot of them. I'm sending them a $10,000.
So he's talking about sending a $10,000 check to air traffic controllers that did not take time off. That's what's being alleged by him. If they did not take time off, go to a different job, if they didn't call off, he's stating, allegedly, he's going to send them a $10,000 check.
Where's that money coming from?
I don't know. I'll get it from someplace. I'll get it from, I always get the money from someplace regardless. There were a lot of them. I'm sending them a $10,000 bonus.
Where's that money coming from?
I don't know. I'll get it from someplace. I'll get it from, I always get the money from someplace regardless. There were a lot of them.
So first he talked about sending either $1,000, $2,000 to the American people. Now he's saying he's going to send $10,000 to air traffic controllers that did not call off. Let's continue.
Still out of reach. And another thing that your administration is trying to tackle, many Americans, the average age of first-time home buyers are now up to age 40, which is sad. The country you and I grew up in.
I inherited that. Look, you have to understand.
Right, but let me get to the question though, because your housing director has proposed something that has enraged your MAGA friends, which is this 50-year mortgage idea. So
did y'all hear about this?
Significant MAGA backlash, calling it a giveaway to the banks and simply prolonging the time it would take for Americans to own a home outright. Is that really a good idea?
It's not even a big deal. I mean, you go from 40 to 50 years. And what it means is you pay something less from 30, that some people had a 40 and then now they have a 50. All it means is you pay less per month, you pay it over a longer period of time. It's not like a big factor. It might help a little bit. But the problem was that Biden did this. He increased the interest rates, and I have a lousy Fed person who's going to be gone.
Housing costs are still out of reach. And another thing that your administration is trying to tackle, many Americans.
So they're talking about changing from a 30-year mortgage to a 50-year, basically stating that people would almost never own their own home. With the 30-year, you could pretty much pay it off in the 30 years, own your own home, but banks have to agree to this. So back in the day, it was President Roosevelt that decided the 30-year. Now Trump is trying to come up with a 50-year.
Housing costs are still out of reach. And another thing that your administration is trying to tackle, many Americans, the average age of first-time home buyers are now up to age 40, which is sad. The country you and I grew up in.
I inherited that. Look, you have to understand.
Right, but let me get to the question though, because your housing director has proposed something that has enraged your MAGA friends, which is this 50-year mortgage idea. So a significant MAGA backlash, calling it a giveaway to the banks and simply prolonging the time it would take for Americans to own a home outright. Is that really a good idea?
It's not even a big deal. You go from 40 to 50 years, and what it means is you pay something less from 30, that some people had a 40, and then now they have a 50. All it means is you pay less per month, you pay it over a longer period of time. It's not like a big factor. It might help a little bit. But the problem was that Biden did this. He increased the interest rates, and I have a lousy Fed person who's going to be gone.
Housing costs are still out of reach. And another thing.
So let's get to some more news of what's being talked about. He's talking to the American people right now, so let's get to what he has to say. A lot going on, y'all. He's talking about sending people $1,000 or $2,000. Now he's talking about sending air traffic control people $10,000. Will they ever see that money? Let's continue. Let's continue.
Unimpeded for generations to come. Mr. President, this is a gift to my kids and your kids, to my grandkids and your grandkids. This is a historic investment in the American military, in the American industrial base, in American industry that will help revive the warrior ethos.
There's about 365 in the building. Welcome to Let's Talk About It Media 21. Please, let's get the likes up. The likes should match the views. As you come in and comment, please double tap that screen to get the likes up. Let's continue. Fair use?
healthy. President Trump said we're reviving it and we're doing it. And then we are also going to reestablish deterrence. Under the previous administration, we looked like fools. Not anymore. President Trump has reestablished American leadership. The F-47 is part of it. And Mr. President, thank you for having the courage to do it and leading the way for all our warfighters.
Thank you very much, Pete. One of the things I will say, but the generals are going to speak in just a couple of seconds, but this plane flies with drones. It flies with many, many drones, as many as you want, and it's a technology that's new, but it doesn't fly by itself. It flies with many drones, as many as we want, and that's something that no other plane can do. So I'd like to introduce, if I might, Air Force Chief of Staff General David Alvin, and also General Dale.
Yeah, you can't play with the man above in my comments. That right here is not okay. Somebody tried to do that yesterday. You can't play with the man above and that man. They are not the same. Don't play in my comments. Be kind, be respectful, but don't do that.
This is a big day. This is a big day for our United States Air Force as well. You know, air dominance is not a birthright, but it's become synonymous with American air power. But air dominance needs to be earned every single day. And since the earliest days of aerial warfare, brave American airmen have jumped into their machines, taken to the air, and they've cleared the skies. And whether that be clearing the skies so we can rain down destruction on our enemies from above.
There's about 300 in the building. Please hit subscribe. Press 3 if you're new, where you're watching from. Press 3 if you're new, where you're watching from. Press 5 if you've been here before and where you're watching from. Let's get the likes up, everybody. The likes should match the views. All you have to do is double tap that screen to get the likes up. All you have to do is double tap that screen to get the likes up. If you have to backspace and find the like button, YouTube makes it easy. Let's hit the like button and thank you. Let's let the commercial go past.
American talent, American skill, and American determination are second to none because this platform is second to none. So,
hello, Chicago.
That this provides more lethality. It provides more capability, more modernized capability in a way that is built to adapt. This, along with our collaborative combat aircraft the President talked about with drones, this is allowing us to look into the future and unlock the magic that is human-machine teaming. And as we do that, we're going to write the next of modern aerial warfare with this. This enables us to do this. The manner in which we put this program together puts more control in the hands of the government, so we can update and adapt at the speed of relevance, at the speed of technology, not at the speed of fear mongers. This is more Air Force. This is more options for the President. We say as our mission in the United States Air Force is to fly, fight, and win power anytime, anywhere. If you want to go anywhere, you have to have a platform that gets you anywhere. This provides the President options from the very one end, which is a quick response, and then we can get right back into fighting stance without having to deploy troops that are going to take maybe months and cost more lives. We can be back in fighting stance and maybe restore that deterrence all the way to decisive victory as part of a joint force that is the most lethal and capable military ever known in history. That's what we provide now, and this allows us to provide into the future. It's more deterrence, more capability. It's what peace through strength looks like in the future, Mr. President. And so we're very proud to do that.
Let's continue.
On behalf of the United States Air Force.
Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. Like the video as y'all come in. There's about 213 in the building. Please hit subscribe and thank you.
It is time for Money Power Politics. I want to talk about the top issue for voters in last week's election, and I would say most elections: the economy, affordability, and housing. Now, for millions of Americans, buying a home is financially out of reach. Today, this number might surprise you. The average age of a first-time home buyer is a record high, 40 years old. That is why President Trump says he is proposing what his administration is calling a 50-year fixed-rate mortgage. So what does that actually mean for you? Well, spreading out payments could lower your costs compared to a 30-year loan, maybe as much as $200 a month. But there's a very big trade-off. You could end up paying as much as double in interest. And the banks, well, they're also likely to charge even higher rates because the loan is going to take a whole lot longer to pay off. And if the goal is to bring more buyers into the market, but the number of homes stays the same, well, guess what's likely going to happen? Prices are going to go up. Not to mention, who wants to wait until they're 90 years old, right? If your first time you're buying a house, you're 40, you ain't paying it off until you're 90. That's a a lot of time. Back with us tonight, Bharat Ramamurthy, former National Economic Council Deputy Director and author of The Bully Pulpit on Substack, and Bill Cohen is here, former Wall Street banker turned journalist and founding partner at Puck. Okie doke. Paying for your home every month until you're 90 years old? Call me a simple girl from New Jersey. That sounds like rent to me.
This proposal makes absolutely no sense at all. Obviously, 30-year mortgages, the rates are much higher than 7-year mortgages, 10-year mortgages. And if people stop for a minute and say to themselves, oh, my monthly payment may be lower with a 50-year mortgage, the amount of interest they're going to pay over the course of 50 years at higher interest rates is going to make the cost of their home, 4 or 5 times the original purchase price in interest payments alone over 50 years? Who wants to do that?
I mean, Bill, Bharat, when I saw this today, all I could think of was the dozens of Today Show segments we have done talking to people about paying down your credit card debt because you don't want to be paying interest every month because it's going to take you a lifetime to pay down your credit cards. And now that's what they're potentially offering to first-time home buyers. But even if it brought down your monthly mortgage payments, it still doesn't resolve the issue of inventory. And here's the problem with building new homes. Donald Trump's tariffs are only making home building way more expensive. How does any of this make sense?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I just put some specific numbers behind Bill's point. If you take the average home price right now, so about $400,000 in the United States, you take a 6% interest rate, which is what your 30-year rate is right now. If you use a 50-year mortgage instead of a 30-year mortgage, yes, you're saving about $200 a month on your monthly payment, but you know how much more you're paying over the life of the mortgage? $320,000 over the life of the mortgage. So that is a hefty sum for somebody to have to pay for that extra amount of affordability. But as you said, the real key here is that we have a supply problem. We don't have enough homes in the United States for the number of people who want to buy them. And the question that I keep coming back to is, the White House, Republicans control the Senate and the Congress. Why aren't they trying to pass a housing affordability bill? Where is their housing supply proposal? Where's a down payment assistance bill? They're not doing any of that. Instead, they're proposing these gimmicks that are basically some short-term benefit for long-term pain and not addressing any of the underlying structural issues. I mean, at the end of the day, really what Trump has done is enact an anti-affordability agenda, as you said, with tariffs, even his immigration policies helping drive up.
Okay, new topic. The president also floated a proposal to help Americans cover their health care by cutting Americans $2,000 checks. That money would come from tariff revenue. And soon after the president floated it, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was scrambling to walk it back, explain, I don't know what it was, so I'm going to share it. When you're free.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. It's almost like when he says something, they have to figure out a way to fix it.
Do you have a formal proposal to give a $2,000 dividend to every American?
I haven't spoken to the president about this yet.
See?
But, the $2,000 dividend could come in lots of forms, in lots of ways, George. It could be just the tax decreases that we were seeing on the president's agenda. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, deductibility of auto loans. So, those are substantial deductions that are being financed in the tax bill.
That ain't a $2,000 check. Bharat, here's the thing. $2,000 checks for every American would cost about $600 billion. The tariffs are only set to bring in about half of that. And he's also supposed to use the tariff money to pay down our debt and bail out farmers. This math doesn't seem to make sense. And I haven't even mentioned that the Supreme Court could knock down the whole tariff thing to begin with.
Yeah, these tariffs are being used for about 9 different purposes. And as you said, given how the Supreme Court argument went, I think it's highly likely that most of the tariff revenue is going to have to be refunded when they strike down the tariffs as impermissible use of presidential authority. So, again, there is no affordability agenda that this president is pursuing. If you give everybody $2,000 checks, and again, you have a limited supply of housing, of groceries, and so on, what's going to happen? We saw a version of this, frankly, in 2021. You have more money chasing after a limited supply of goods. Prices are going to continue to rise, which degrades the value of that benefit. But the point is, the 50-year mortgage, the $2,000 checks, look, neither of these ideas are actually going to happen. There are random things that the president floats on a whim. You can tell that Secretary Bessent has no idea what the president is talking about, has no plan for actually enacting it, and all of it.
There's about 289 in the building. Please hit subscribe. Please hit subscribe. We're just doing some hot topics, trending topics. He's talking, but let's see the money. And then his team has to clean it up. Please hit subscribe. Let's get the likes up, everybody. Let's get the likes up. The likes should match the views. We should be at 100 likes. Please double tap that screen. Please hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video. Press 3 if you knew where you're watching from. Press 3 if you knew where you're watching from. Press 5 if you've been here before where you're watching from. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
As a substitute for having a coherent affordability agenda that tackles the structural reasons why costs are so high in America.
let's actually talk about IRS and filing our taxes, because they're actually talking about getting rid of the free filing option that people can do online, which expedites your return, gets you the money much faster. But according to the New York Times, the Treasury Department and the IRS have been quietly providing tax relief. Can you guess to whom? Private equity firms, and you guessed it, crypto companies and foreign real estate investors, as well as insurance providers and a whole bunch of multinational corporations. When the president promises to make life more affordable, were private equity firms, multinational corporations, and international real estate investors was who he was talking about? Because I didn't see any. I've been to a Trump rally. I haven't seen any of those folks there.
No, that's because they're working behind the scenes with their lobbyists to get exactly what they want. I mean, who was one of the biggest donors to the Trump campaign was the crypto industry, the private equity industry. This reeks of corruption, of course. What a surprise. They already got big tax relief in the big bad bill, and now they're getting more quiet tax relief. The whole thing just defies logic and imagination and is completely unfair and lacks compassion, but this is where we are.
Okay, so Barack, let's say the president is quietly giving all of these tax benefits to the super rich. Put that over here. Last week's elections made it perfectly clear, not that voters are in love with Democrats again. They're deeply unhappy about the state of the economy. And the president is doubling down yet again, saying he is blowing things away, that everything across the board, which it's not. And he's doing that while potentially cutting off SNAP benefits and making healthcare more expensive. How is this going to land with the American people? You were part of the last administration that faced a ration of unhappiness from Americans who didn't like the economy, that was recovering from COVID.
Yeah, look, again, as you said, I have deep, unhappy personal experience with all of this. You can put as many charts and graphs in front of the American people and say, look, the line that shows your income is higher than the line that shows your costs. You should be really happy that your real incomes are higher. It doesn't work. People are frustrated about costs being higher today than they were 5 years ago. People are frustrated about the fact that even if they are making more money, they have to spend all of that additional money just buying the same stuff that they were buying before because it all costs more. It's extraordinarily frustrating. It's a tough policy problem to crack. What it takes is a serious amount of research, of study, of working across party lines to come up with sustainable solutions. Basically, all the things that this administration is not doing.
My goodness. We're going to leave it there.
And one other point here. We know that tariffs are a tax on the American people, so giving people their own money back in the form of $2,000 checks is insane.
Except nobody's getting those $2,000 checks, or wherever it's coming from, we do not know.
Like the video. Like the video. Fair use reaction clip. Next subject. Like the video as y'all come in.
The longest government shutdown in history, and now in his second term, Donald Trump has set the record again for the new longest government shutdown in history. The end of the government shutdown was forged when 5 Senate Democrats, and only 5, changed their position in a compromise that forced every Senate Republican to change their positions, while it also forced Donald Trump to change his position. And it has forced every Republican member of the House of Representatives to now change their positions. So this is 5 Democrats who changed their position, and 53 Republican senators, 217 Republican House members, and 1 Republican president, a total of 271 Republicans who changed their positions and are now supporting a version of a budget bill that they said they would never support, and 5 Democrats who changed their position to vote for that same bill, which was proposed by those 5 Democrats. So who caved here? What does caved mean? But this being Washington, the 5...
There's about 479 in the building. Please hit subscribe. Please hit subscribe. We're trying to hit 50K by next month. Let's continue. Fair use. Let's continue to get the likes up. Thank you for being here. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Media 21.
Change votes on the Democratic side versus the 271 Republicans changing their position is being generally reported as...
Be kind in the comments. Go to your own page. Don't be rude in my comments. Just don't do it. Be kind. Thank you.
The Democrats, meaning all of them, the Democrats abandoning their position, the Democrats caving, the Democrats losing the shutdown. So 5 Democrats changed their position, 271 Republicans changed their position to arrive at a compromise position. And it's reported as just the Democrats caving. Now, if we want to use the word cave in place of the word compromise, 271 Republicans, including Donald Trump, caved to just 5 Democrats. Not 8, just 5, because 3 Democrats were already voting with Republicans on this. 271 Republicans changed their position to accept the demands of 5 Democrats that created the 60-vote majority in the Senate to pass it. And what did those Democrats achieve? Well, those 5 Democrats forced Republicans, including Donald Trump, to agree to, first of all, they forced Donald Trump, who's been trying to stop funding supplemental nutrition assistance, to increase funding for food stamps. Increase it. That is not nothing. The 5 Democrats who changed their position managed to not just guarantee supplemental nutrition assistance funding for almost a year, but they actually got it increased. And no Republican wanted to do that. Donald Trump didn't want to do that. No Republican. They caved, if that's the word we're going to use, on that. The Republicans did. And all the Republicans are caving to that demand by those 5 Democrats for their votes. That's one of the things the 5 Democrats got for their votes. The 5 Democrats also obtained a guarantee to rehire every federal worker Donald Trump has fired during the government shutdown, every one of them. 4,000 people will get their jobs back, and they will get back pay because of this compromise that 5 Senate Democrats forced on 271 Republicans, including Donald Trump. The compromise also forces Donald Trump to deliver back pay to all federal workers, every one of them, affected by the Trump shutdown, something Donald Trump was trying to avoid. Donald Trump was trying to become the first president in history to deny back pay to every government worker affected by the shutdown. And those 5 Democratic senators got that back pay guaranteed. That is not nothing. They got something. Something. They didn't get what they wanted. They didn't get everything. They didn't get the big thing. They got something. It should not be surprising that one of the 5 senators in this compromise is Tim Kaine of Virginia, where he represents one of the states with the most federal government workers per capita working in and around Washington, D.C. It should also not be surprising that both of the Democratic senators from Nevada joined the compromise that will avoid the airport nightmares that were looming in America for Thanksgiving and Christmas if the shutdown continues. Las Vegas, Nevada is completely dependent on reliable air traffic into Las Vegas to feed the local economy, the biggest economy in Nevada. Las Vegas has other problems now with Canadians boycotting tourism in America, but the airport nightmare was something that Nevada's Democratic senators decided after 40 days they simply could not abide. For people in government who care about how the government works and how the country runs, which does not include Donald Trump, people who care about that, including our air traffic control system, for them, government shutdowns are actually painful every day. They're not a stunt. They're not a tactic. They're not a strategic tactic. They are painful. Government shutdowns are full of pressure every day for people who care about this government actually running and running well. And that pressure of a government shutdown gets greater every day. Some people who have never been in the room with a senator feeling that pressure seem to think that it's easy for senators from Nevada to do nothing to end the government shutdown that is ruining.
Press 3 if you're new, where you're watching from. Press 3 if you're new, where you're watching from. Press 5 if you've been here before, where you're watching from. Please hit the subscribe button. There's about 407 in the building. We're trying to get to 50K by next month. Please subscribe, and thanks for being here. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
American air travel. People who have never seen or heard a majority or minority leader of the Senate actually try to persuade a senator on how to vote, seem to think that it's easy. If you haven't worked in the Senate, you haven't actually seen it happen. It is not televised. It happens on the Senate floor when the senators are speaking privately and don't have microphones. It happens in the Leaders' office just off the Senate floor. And it happens in the Mansfield room and the LBJ room just off the Senate floor. Those rooms were named for previous Senate majority leaders.
Hello, Chicago.
To be masters of the Senate.
Good morning.
Senators meet in the LBJ room. The minority party meets in the LBJ room for their group lunches. The majority party meets in the Mansfield room for their group lunches. No pundit who claims expertise in this arena
Hello, Boston.
has ever been allowed in one of those rooms while those meetings were happening. No authors of books about political science have ever been allowed in those rooms.
Good morning.
They have no idea what it's like for a Democratic leader of the Senate trying to guide every Democrat in the Senate in a room together at the same time. Very few Senate staffers out in that room. There are usually no more than 2 or 3 staffers in that room.
Nutcracker. Magical.
Like the video. There's about 237 in the building. Please hit subscribe. We're trying to hit 50K by next month. Let's continue to get the likes up, you guys. Just double tap the screen. Hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video. Let's continue. Fair use.
I was in that room many times in the 1990s when Bill Clinton was president, and a masterful Senate Majority Leader, George Mitchell of Maine, was running that room. There was a moment in those early Clinton years in that room when it seemed that the only reason two senators didn't start throwing punches is that they were seated too far apart from each other when they were yelling at each other.
Thank you for the hearts. Love them, love them.
Fully respected each other, were very friendly with each other, usually voted the same way, but that day almost came to blows. Because that's how tense it can be in that room, and that is how important the work is. Those two senators had conflicting opinions that day, and both of them thought that what they wanted to do was the best thing for the country. That was not an egotistical shouting match. That was a shouting match about the future of this country, a shouting match about what this country needed at that moment. And luckily, at that moment, the most tense moment I've ever seen in that room, in the Mansfield room, John Glenn was in the room. John Glenn was in the room that day, a veteran Navy combat pilot who was the first person to orbit the Earth as an astronaut. He was a hero to everyone in that room long before any of us ever met him. And in a soft voice, he calmed the room and got everyone back on track, trying to figure out how to work together. The Senate is lucky, but it has giants like John Glenn in the room, world-class heroes who command everyone's admiration all the time. But Senator John Glenn was not a leader. He was never a leader. I never heard a senator say, I'm voting for it because John Glenn is voting for it. There is no more difficult thing to try to do in the United States Senate than to lead. Very few senators have ever been able to do it, either at the committee level or at the majority or minority leader level. The Republican leaders of the Senate during the Trump era have not commanded party discipline. Fear of Trump voters in their states is what has commanded party discipline by Republicans in the Senate. Every Republican senator fears what will happen to them if they don't do what Donald Trump tells their voters in their states that they should do. The Democrats have never had an enforcer like that and never will. Chuck Schumer now has the impossible job of what the great George Mitchell and other majority leaders used to call herding cats. George Mitchell didn't mean it.
If y'all just not coming in, let's hear what's going on.
$1,000 bonus.
Where's that money coming from?
I don't know. I'll get it from someplace. I always get the money from someplace regardless.
Let's continue. If you're just not coming in, we're going to update you on what's being talked about.
Americans that travel is going to go back to normal once the government all the air travel
better than normal. You know why?
When the government reopens.
Yeah, sure. It'll be much better than normal because we're buying the most sophisticated avionics and technology for our control towers, and we didn't have that. We had a guy named Buttigieg. Edge is the best way. Just say two edges, like off the edge of a cliff, which is where they were taking us, by the way. Buttigieg was the Secretary of Transportation. He spent billions of dollars trying to patch together our air traffic control system, which was a conglomeration of all different systems in all different cities. They had hundreds of companies working on it, and they were spending billions of dollars. And when they turned it on, it didn't work. It didn't even work a little bit. That's why you had a helicopter crashing into an airplane, that if we had a great system, bells and whistles would have started going off.
Let's continue with the news of what he's been saying, because people are just now coming in. Okay, so let's go here.
We're going to issue a dividend to our middle income people and lower income people of about $2,000. And we're going to use the remaining tariffs to lower our debt. We're going to be lowering our debt, which is a national security thing. So we're doing a lot of good work. And the numbers were reported so incorrectly. The real numbers are trillions of dollars have been taken in or gotten in terms of investment from the tariffs. And so if that were ever reversed, it would be a disaster. Frankly, it would be a national security problem for our country. And nobody thinks it's going to be reversed. I think we had a very good court case. As you know, it's before the Supreme Court right now. But if that were ever reversed, people say, oh, it's $1 billion. Some people said, oh, it's $2 billion. Well, that obviously we can handle very easily. But this is trillions of dollars we're talking about in terms of the tariff income and all the investment income that's come into our country. We're going to issue a dividend to our middle income people.
Let's continue.
The $2,000 dividend could come in lots of forms, in lots of ways, George. It could be just the tax decreases that we are seeing on the president's agenda. no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, deductibility of auto loans. So, those are substantial deductions that, are being financed in the tax bill.
Senator?
It could, the $2,000 dividend could come in lots of forms, in lots of ways, George. It could be just the tax decreases that we are seeing on the president's agenda. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, deductibility of auto loans. So, those are substantial deductions that, are being financed in the tax bill.
Senator?
But he said this.
Dividends to our middle income people and lower income people of about $2,000. And we're going to use the remaining tariffs to lower our debt. We're going to be lowering our debt, which is a national security thing. So we're doing a lot of good work. The numbers were reported so incorrectly. The real numbers are trillions of dollars have been taken in or gotten in terms of investment from the tariffs. And so if that were ever reversed, it would be a disaster. Frankly, it would be a national security problem for our country. And nobody thinks it's going to be reversed. I think we had a very good court case. As you know, it's before the Supreme Court right now. But if that were ever reversed, people say, oh, it's $1 billion. Some people said, oh, it's $2 billion. Well, that obviously we can handle very easily. But this is trillions of dollars we're talking about in terms of the tariff income and all the investment income that's come into our country. We're going to issue a dividend to...
Let's continue with the news of what he's been saying lately. I'll get to that Kanye later. Hold on one second. Let me go back. Kanye's something else. I didn't know Kanye said this. I did not know Kanye said this. I did not have a clue. I didn't know about that. Kanye West is something else. But let's continue with the news of what he's been saying.
Still out of reach. And another thing that your administration is trying to tackle, many...
Let me go back.
Housing costs are still out of reach. And another thing that your administration is trying to tackle, many Americans, the average age of first-time home buyers are now up to age 40, which is sad. The country you and I grew up in.
I inherited that. Look, you have to understand.
Right, but let me get a quick question, though, because your housing director has proposed something that has enraged your MAGA friends, which is this 50-year mortgage idea. So a significant MAGA backlash, calling it a giveaway to the banks and simply prolonging the time it would take for Americans to own a home outright. Is that really a good idea?
It's not even a big deal. I mean, you go from 40 to 50 years, and what it means is you pay something less. From 30, that some people had a 40, and then now they have a 50. All it means is you pay less per month. You pay it over a longer period of time. It's not like a big factor. It might help a little bit. But the problem with Biden did this, he increased the interest rates, and I have a lousy Fed person who's going to be gone.
Housing costs are still out of reach. And another thing that...
So many people feel that that's going to be huge in regards to the mortgage. From a 30 to 50.
Housing costs are still out of...
Let's continue. We'll get to that in a minute. Vivica needs to move on. This has been a situation she loves mentioning 50 every year. They broke up 22 years ago. But let's continue with the news. Let's continue with the news. He doesn't know how he's going to get this money.
Where's that money coming from?
I don't know. I'll get it from someplace. I always get the money from someplace regardless.
Because remember, he promised the air traffic controllers 10 grand. But where's he going to get that money?
Sending them a $10,000 bonus.
Where's that money coming from?
I don't know. I'll get it from someplace. I always get the money from someplace regardless. There were a lot of them. I'm sending them a $10,000 bonus.
Where's that money coming from?
I don't know. I'll get it from someplace. I always get the money from someplace regardless. There were a lot of them. I'm sending them a $10,000 bonus.
Where's that money coming from?
Okay, so let's continue with the news. Fair use reaction clip. Like the video as you guys come in. We're just doing hot topics, trending topics right now.
Today marks day 42 of the government shutdown, but last night the Senate did pass a bill to reopen the government. The legislation approved with the support of 52 Republicans, 7 Democrats, and 1 independent. It combines 3 full years.
I don't know. I'll get it from someplace.
Measure to keep the rest of the government funded through the end of January. It also reverses mass layoffs triggered by the Trump administration during the shutdown and blocks additional firings. But it does not extend health care subsidies. And last night, Speaker Mike Johnson told reporters he cannot guarantee that he will hold a vote on a bill if the Senate passes.
Look, we're going to do in the House what we always do, and that is a deliberative process. I mean, we're going to find consensus on whatever the proposal is.
Well, will you bring it to the floor for a vote?
As you know, I do not guarantee the outcome of legislation or dates or deadlines.
There's about 326 in the building. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes to 100. Can I get 50 people to double tap that screen, back screen, and thumbs up the video? Thumbs up the video. Let's continue.
I got to build consensus among the members, and that is what we will do. But it's exactly as we have always done, exactly as I always do.
But it's not guaranteeing an outcome, it's guaranteeing a vote.
No, I can't hear it.
So the bill to reopen the government now heads over to the House, which has been out of session for more than 50 days at this point. A source tells MSNBC Speaker Johnson is aiming to clear the legislation Wednesday. So, Joe, we'll get into this in a moment. Democrats are not happy with the 7 plus Angus King who voted to get this bill across the finish line. They have their qualms with it, and we'll explain that in just a minute. But what's your sense of where things go from here?
Well, the speaker there is talking about his deliberative process, and I think most of us would agree he has been quite deliberative when it has come to the Epstein files. He has been quite deliberative when it has come to swearing in a new member of Congress who was elected, over a month ago? He has been quite deliberative. I will say, Gene Robinson, though, there's a little problem here. He doesn't have a massive majority in the House of Representatives. Yeah. He's got at least, I think, a dozen Republicans that won in seats where Joe Biden won. If you look at the extraordinary political bleeding that Republicans suffered last Tuesday in Virginia, in rural parts of Virginia, where they are feeling the cuts that are coming, whether it's to food assistance or whether it's coming to whether they can take their child to a medical facility 10 miles from their home, or if they have to drive 65, 70 miles from their home, you can see, and those Republicans in those Biden swing districts can see, the trend lines do not look good with Republicans, again, saying no to helping people out, whether it's with food assistance or helping Americans out when it comes to paying for skyrocketing costs for their health care. So you add those 12 and you put MTG in there and a couple of other people who represent rural districts who are saying to Republicans, you all are sealing your own political fate. I don't think it's going to be as cut and dry as the speaker thinks it's going to be. I've been in Gingrich's house where there's a majority of 4 or 5. It ain't a pretty sight for the speaker when things go sideways.
Yeah, and with this Republican caucus in the House, things can go sideways pretty fast. You're absolutely right. Every single county in Virginia moved toward the Democrats last week. Every single one. The most rural counties, the most Republican counties, the most MAGA counties, they all moved toward the Democrats, some very substantial. And I think that is about the affordability issue. I think the question of the Obamacare subsidies. One thing the Democrats did do is they made that an issue. It wasn't an issue that had grabbed the public before. Now it's real, and they did make it an issue. So if those who voted for the quote compromise end quote, which was actually caving, wanted to defend themselves, that's one thing they could say that we made this an issue, and it is a very bad issue for Republicans in the coming midterms.
Yeah, and Mike Barnicle, you look again at the election results. If you want to see where the wind's blowing, there's some counties. I read, I think it was York County in Virginia. There's some counties that had not gone Democratic since LBJ, and it was it's one of those nights that, again, I saw this in '93 when everything broke Republican. These states and these counties, and people said a tidal wave's coming next year. Now, I'm not suggesting a tidal wave for Democrats will be coming next year in the midterm elections, but let's just say the forecast, if you look back at the past, the forecast not looking good for them. And a lot of them, if they're smart enough, they're going to hunker down and they're going to make sure they protect their working Americans in their district. They're going to protect their hospitals in their district. They're going to protect their nursing homes in their districts. They're going to do what they can to help their constituents. If they're smart, with skyrocketing healthcare costs. They can't be seen on the wrong side of that issue. They can't be seen on the wrong side of affordability. They can't run around saying what Donald Trump said last night, that the affordability crisis is a hoax. It won't work. This isn't about masks. This isn't about Neil Armstrong walking on a soundstage in Burbank. This isn't about some Bobby Kennedy Jr. Conspiracy theory. This is something that Americans are living every single day of their life when they go to the grocery store, when they go to the gas station, when they go to their doctor.
That's it. You just put your finger on it, Joe. I mean, you go to gas up your car and you look and you think, oh, I'm only going to get $20 of gas today because I can't afford to fill the tank. You go to the grocery store and you know that prices have gone up, not month to month, week to week, and sometimes day to day. And people instinctively are so much smarter than the people who represent them in Congress. Something happens when you go to Congress. You go isolate yourself from the reality of everyday people's everyday lives. But there's something out there. You can just sense it. You can feel it. People know that something is wrong with what's going on in this country governmentally. And odd little things, I think, play a role in it. I think knocking down part of the White House has an impact on ordinary people. What's up with that? Jonathan, I don't know about you, but internally in the White House, what do they think is going on, really? Does anybody there know the reality of what's going on in the country?
Well, I think there's been a recognition in the building, quietly, that they took their eye off the ball when it comes to prices. So that is what they won on last year, largely. 2024, the central issue was affordability. They've been able to read the polls. They saw the beatdown Republicans took at the ballot box last week. Trump himself has privately said this is our first real setback of his administration. But the president himself isn't willing to admit this. He did. In fact, in that interview last night, called the affordability issue a quote con job. Like it's almost, he seems so out of touch with voters, which is a little bit reminiscent of what President Biden did, in his term. His team was a little slow to recognize the pain that some voters are feeling. Trump seems to be fast tracking that. And Joe, to your point, the shutdown, look, the party that is the one who pulls the trigger and says, hey, we're going to shut down the government, sort of never does come out ahead. And there were Democrats who came to that recognition. The Republicans weren't going to bend on these subsidies. Therefore, let's get back to work. Let's spare the pain of people across the country before the Thanksgiving holidays make it so much worse. But the ball is now in the Republicans' court to deal with this. And that includes the House of Representatives. Let's just look at this stat. In the last 18 weeks, the House of Representatives has been in session for 20 days. So now they are going to have to deal with real anger here that they have simply abdicated their responsibility to the American people.
I'll tell you what, please forgive me for saying this. I could talk about when I coached football or Little League baseball, but I think me talking about my experience in Congress might be a little more relevant just to make this point. When you start talking about numbers like that, Susan will remember this, and Gene will remember this, and Mike will remember this. It sounds a lot like the Democratic Congress we ran against in 1994. Arrogant, check cashing scandals. They would just throw checks in drawers. They didn't vote that much. They weren't doing the people's business. It was so easy to run against them. And I suspect the same, Willie, would be the case here. And to Jonathan's point, you look where politically we stand at the end of this government shutdown. I understand. I understand why Democrats would be angry for those who finish this deal off. Of course, if I were there, I would be having pitchforks and torches, go drive them into the ground. And I probably talk like that because that's a Northwest Florida accent, Willie. But the fact is, Democrats, nobody can change this fact. No podcaster can change this fact. Nobody can change the fact that Democrats won this shutdown. You look at Donald Trump's disapproval.
Good morning. Good morning. There's about 189 in the building. Please hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 50K by next month. Like the video as you guys come in. Press 3 if you knew where you're watching from. Press 3 if you knew where you're watching from. Press 5 if you've been here before and where you're watching from. Thanks for being here. Good morning. Good morning.
And the CNN poll and other polls higher than it's ever been before. Right track, wrong track. Only 1/3 of Americans think this country's going in the right direction. 2/3 think it's going in the wrong direction. You just keep going down the list, Willie. You look at the election returns last Tuesday, which are the most accurate polls there are. There's cross sections of Americans, whether they're on the East Coast or the West Coast, whether they're in Los Angeles, California, or Bucks County.
Be kind and respectful in the comments. Be kind and respectful in the comments.
Pennsylvania, whether they're in York County, Virginia, or whether they're in Secaucus, New Jersey, or in Brooklyn, New York, a wide cross-section of Americans, and they gave Republicans their worst thumping in a very long time. So Donald Trump can say, nothing to see here, move along. The sheriff and the Simpsons, But Americans understand there is something deeply wrong with this government. And while they're struggling to pay rising costs, whether it's for food, whether it's for heating their homes in the winter, whatever it is, Donald Trump is knocking down the White House and talking about grand ballrooms. He's pardoning crypto billionaires who've got rich. He's doing deals, bailouts with Argentina, $20 to $40 billion bailouts for Argentina, and he's like bringing even more cows in from Argentina. We all love Evita. We all love the musical. We all hope it goes from the West End to Broadway. But the obsession, I can't wait to see her go out and sing "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina." It's going to be beautiful. That said, like it's so discordant with where Americans are right now that if Republicans, especially House Republicans in swing districts, have any sense about them at all, they're going to be very worried, and they're going to make sure that they're able to vote to help their constituents when that chance comes up on making their health care costs a little less prohibitive.
And it really was stunning last night. We'll play more of it to hear President Trump saying to many of his own voters, as a matter of fact, this idea that you can't afford your own life anymore is a con job. It's a hoax. I'm telling you that you're wrong about your own life. As you say, that's not a subjective question for people. That's, I can't pay the rent, I can't afford a house, and maybe in some cases you're taking away my food assistance and my benefits. So we talk.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. Like the video as you guys come in. What do you think about all the news that's being talked about?
Crashing into an airplane, that if we had a great system, bells and whistles would have started going off.
Like the video as you guys come in.
I guarantee to Americans that travel is going to go back to normal once the government all the air travel
better than normal. You know why?
When the government reopens.
Yeah, sure. It'll be much better than normal because we're buying the most sophisticated avionics and technology for our control towers, and we didn't have that. We had a guy named Buttigieg. Edge, they say is the best way. Just say two edges, like off the edge of a cliff, which is where they were taking us, by the way. Edge was the Secretary of Transportation, and he spent billions of dollars trying to patch together our air traffic control system, which was a conglomeration of all different systems in all different cities. They had hundreds of companies working on it, and they were spending billions of dollars. And when they turned it on, it didn't work. It didn't even work a little bit. That's why you had a helicopter crashing into an airplane, that if we had a great system, bells and whistles would have started going off.
Like the
guarantee to Americans that.
Like the video. We're just updating y'all on what's being said.
To our middle income people and lower income people, about $2,000. And we're going to use the remaining tariffs to lower our debt. We're going to be lowering our debt, which is a national security thing. So we're doing a lot of good work. The numbers were reported so incorrectly. The real numbers are trillions of dollars have been taken in or gotten in terms of investment from the tariffs. And so if that were ever reversed, it would be a disaster. Frankly, it would be a national security problem for our country. And nobody thinks it's going to be reversed. I think we had a very good court case. As you know, it's before the Supreme Court right now. But if that were ever reversed, people say, oh, it's $1 billion. Some people said, oh, it's $2 billion. Well, that obviously we can handle very easily. But this is trillions of dollars we're talking about in terms of the tariff income and all the investment income that's come into our country. Going to issue to our middle.
It could. The $2,000 dividend could come in lots of forms, in lots of ways, George. It could be just the tax decreases that we are seeing on the president's agenda. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, deductibility of auto loans. So, those are substantial deductions that, are being financed in the tax bill.
Secretary.
It could. The $2,000 dividend could come in lots of forms, in lots of ways, George. It could be just the tax decreases that we are seeing on the president's agenda. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, deductibility of auto loans. So, those are substantial deductions that, are being financed in the tax bill.
Secretary.
Like the video.
We're going to issue a dividend to our middle income people and lower income people about $2,000. And we're going to use the remaining tariffs to lower our debt. We're going to be lowering our debt, which is a national security thing. So we're doing a lot of good work. And the numbers were reported so incorrectly. The real numbers are trillions of dollars have been taken in or gotten in terms of investment from the tariffs. And so if that were ever reversed, it would be a disaster. Frankly, it would be a national security problem for our country. And nobody thinks it's going to be reversed. I think we had a very good court case. As you know, it's before the Supreme Court right now. But if that were ever reversed, people are saying, oh, it's $1 billion. Some people said, oh, it's $2 billion. Well, that obviously we can handle very easily. But this is trillions of dollars we're talking about in terms of the tariff income and all the investment income that's come into our country. We're going to issue a dividend to our middle.
So let's continue with the news. So if y'all was expecting that check to come in the mail, don't know if it's coming. I had told y'all whether that's real news or fake news. Let's continue. And I'm not certain if air traffic controllers are going to get the $10,000 that he talked about. Let's continue with the news. Fair use reaction clip.
Thanks so much for being with us. Greatly appreciated. I want to ask about the government shutdown. It's over now. There have been estimates before that it might take 1% GDP in the fourth quarter from the U.S. economy. With it coming to an end, what's your best estimate right now about how much the shutdown will have ended up costing the American people and how quickly the economy will bounce back?
That's a good question.
Good morning to all our veterans on Veterans Day. And, we'll see. But
that's a good question. There's about 253 in the building. Please hit the subscribe button. We're trying to hit 50K by next month. Please hit the subscribe button. We're trying to hit 50K by next month. Also, let's get the likes up. Can I get 50 people to double tap that screen to get the likes up? Thank you. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
Clearly, there has been a hit to GDP with this unnecessary extended shutdown. I don't know whether it's going to be 1.5%. Going into this, the Atlanta Fed GDP now showed that the economy was.
Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the hearts.
The previous quarter. So I'm hopeful that if we can get reopened, we can make some of that back.
Are you optimistic that if the government gets reopened, let's say by the end of the week, that the economy will prove to be resilient and we will bounce back fairly quickly?
I think the economy is very resilient. I don't know how quickly the bounce back will be because, obviously you talked about it a little in the earlier segment on your personal experience on personal travel, but there's also freight was being shut down. And so I think it's going to take a little while to get the supply chains back too. But I think the economy under President Trump's been very resilient, and growth has exceeded expectations almost every quarter.
So I'm going to talk to you about the shutdown and affordability and a lot of other issues. I am just curious. I may have slept through most of my Econ 101 classes at Alabama or been reading Sports Illustrated. I come to you for the answer to this question, and that is when we have a government shutdown, if it had continued longer, when the stop going, when we're not able to move freight around, how much of an impact, let's say this would have gone another few weeks, how much of an impact does it have on the U.S. economy when our ability to move people and to move freight around the United States is compromised?
Well, it gets worse and worse. We probably started out at $1 billion a day, a couple billion a day, then up to $15 billion a week. And Joe, I don't know what it could have cascaded into. One of the things, I didn't want to alarm Americans, but I got a panic notice the other night that said that food inspectors were not getting paid and that they weren't going to work. So we actually could have had food shortages. I think because we're going to get restarted in time, that's not going to happen.
When you're free. When you're in your own space. When you're doing your best.
Like the video, fair use.
Right. Yeah, and I think on the airline question, I think the smarter way for me to ask it is how reliant is our economy on air travel, on the airwaves being open and us being able to move freight and move people across the United States?
Well, it's a core tenet of that, along with trucking and shipping. But in terms of business travel, I received several texts from airline executives over the weekend before we got news that the shutdown might be ending, saying that they were quite worried for their businesses.
Yeah. You know, affordability has been an issue for quite some time. After the 2024 election, there were many focus groups and others saying that President Trump won because of the affordability crisis. We heard the same thing this past week, that affordability remained an issue. I know you know about home heating prices, food continues to go up. How much of an issue? The president was asked last night about affordability, and he suggested we didn't have an affordability crisis. I'm certainly not asking you to cross the president here, but I am curious, over the next 6 months to a year, how much of a challenge will affordability remain for people that want to heat their homes, want to buy a home, want to be able to pay their rent, want to be able to buy a new car?
Well, Joe, there's a lot there to unpack. A lot of the home heating costs are actually driven by states. I found it very interesting the other day when the governor-elect of New Jersey said the first thing she's going to do is bring down energy costs. Well, Phil Murphy did a terrible job, and energy costs are high because of the choices he made over the past few years. Same for New York State. New York State refuses to put in these natural gas pipelines. There's an abundance of energy next door in Pennsylvania. You could bring down New York State energy costs just by putting in these pipelines. So part of it's a choice. But when you ask over the next 6 or 12 months, there are two parts to affordability. There's the price level, and we inherited a mess. It was the worst inflation 40 or 50 years. And I think what the president was very frustrated about is, you said everyone started talking about it, that after he took office, like where was the discussion during Joe Biden? Because during the Biden era, it was complete gaslighting. There was a vibe session. Steve Ratner, who you just had on, wrote a column basically saying, like, Americans don't know how good they had it. You just don't understand, but the American people know what they're feeling. And what I expect over the next 6 and 12 months, as I said, there are two ways to address affordability. You stop the prices from going up, you get inflation under control, you have things like energy, mortgages come down, you get real working class wages up. And that's what happened in President Trump's first term. Hourly workers' wages did better than supervisory workers. The bottom 50% of households by net worth had a bigger net worth increase than the top 10%. For 2 years under President Trump, we had a 4.9% real wage increase. So there will be a point where if you keep prices under control or bring them down, turn down and wages go through that line, and that's when Americans are going to be feeling good again, and that's what next November's election is going to be fought on.
Mr. Secretary, you talked about last year Democrats saying Americans don't realize how good they have it, they just don't get it. It seemed to be what the president was suggesting in the interview last night with Laura Ingraham. Here's what he said.
But other things, as you noted, have gone up. Beef, coffee, auto repairs. Is this a voter perception issue of the economy, or is there more that needs to be done by Republicans on Capitol Hill, or done in terms of policy?
More than anything else, it's a con job by the Democrats. They're saying, they just have to say, they put out something, say today costs are up. They feed it to the anchors of ABC, CBS, and NBC, and a lot of other, CNN, et cetera. And it's like a standard. I'll never forget they had used a word like manufactured. Do you remember the word manufactured? It's a manufactured economy. Nobody uses that word. Every anchor, broker, manufactured, they do exactly what they say. It's such a rigged system. So are you ready? Costs are way down. Gasoline is going to be hitting $2 pretty soon, or around $2. Gasoline is at $2.70 now.
It's just over $3 right now. So, Mr. Secretary, it's not news anchors at NBC saying, it's the voters a week ago saying life is too expensive in this country. So do you believe the idea that voters are saying affordability is a problem for me is a con job?
I believe, even this morning, you had two people come on and say, well, I look at the price at the pump and I know costs are up. Well, gasoline's down. So that is a con job. And I think that's what's frustrating.
So you don't believe that all the people who went to vote last Tuesday on the issue of affordability, my rent's too high, I can't afford to buy a house, groceries are too expensive. You think they're just misperceiving what's happening in their lives?
I think that that we inherited an affordability crisis. We have slowed the price increases down, and they are going to continue to slow down, and that real working class wages will go up, and that will address the affordability issue. And I think this is what Democrats are afraid to do. They've gone to the courts to try to stop President Trump and this great economy. That hasn't worked. They get overruled at SCOTUS. We go to the media, who carries their water. That hasn't worked, so they shut down the government and hurt the economy. Let's keep the economy open, let our policies kick in, and let's see if what I just talked about, let's see if those two lines cross. Costs come down, real wages go up, and then we can have an election next November.
You can blame the media. I understand that's part of your job, but let's talk about voters who are saying life is too expensive. Not just talking about Democrats in New York City who might have voted for Mayor-elect Mamdani, ranchers, Republicans in red states saying things are too expensive. What do you say to them? Not that it's a con job, but they feel like life life is too expensive, that it's a reality of their lives.
I say that there are many aspects of affordability that have gotten better under President Trump. They're going to continue to get better. I mean, unbelievably, Bloomberg had an article yesterday that said, oh, mortgage rates aren't down that much. Well, on Inauguration Day, the 30-year mortgage was 7.8%. Yesterday was 6.22%. That is the single biggest component of buying a new home. And that is a gigantic drop. But it said, oh, they're just down slightly.
Do you think tariffs help or hurt prices for consumers in this country?
I think that the tariffs help consumers because we are able to, if you go back and look, they have brought down the budget deficit. And MIT came out with a study that said that 42% of the great inflation was caused by the big deficit spending. So as you bring down deficit spending, inflation will come down. And the tariffs, right now we take in substantial tariff income. Over time, that will rebalance as the factories move to the U.S., and that will become the corporate income or wage income. And by bringing down the budget deficit, we are bringing down inflation.
You're an incredibly well-respected financial mind, have been for many years. It's why you've got the job, because so many people respect economy and money. Do you, as a rule, though, even going back to your career in finance, believe that tariffs are a tax on consumers? Do they cost consumers money?
I do not believe that tariffs are a tax on consumers.
Joe's got one for you.
By the way, I just want to assure you, just in case you worry about this, Mr. Secretary, that ranchers and voters in York County for Donald Trump do not wring their hands and say, oh my God, Joe Scarborough and Morning Joe and people on MSNBC say there's an affordability crisis, so now there's an affordability crisis. I think they live it and they feel it. But let's talk about the piling on effect right now. And some of the challenges that you're going to face, the president's going to face, anybody in office is going to face about affordability. So if inflation went up, let's say 9% under Joe Biden, it came down to 3%, right? And let's say it's still kind of chugging along at 2 or 3% right now. The problem is people are comparing today with what they were paying in 2019. And so people may say they want prices to plummet and go down, but actually the challenge there is the last thing you want is deflation. So how do you explain that even if you slow down inflation to, let's say, 2%, 1.5%, 2%, which would be great, Americans are still going to look back and think of the good old days before COVID, before inflation, before all of these things hit. You know what I'm saying? There's going to always be sort of this stacking price. Things are always going to be more expensive unless you have deflation, but it's the last thing you want, right?
Well, Joe, you can have disinflation and you can have some goods deflating. We want energy prices to deflate. Right. I think there's some food items that can deflate, but as I said before, there are...
Like the video. There's about 209 in the building. Please hit subscribe. Please hit subscribe and turn on your notifications. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Continue to get the likes up. The likes should match your views. Please double tap that screen to get the likes up. Thank you.
With the affordability,
fair use reaction clip.
Two components. There's price, and then there's real wage gains. And Americans are going to look back and think that under President Trump's first term, they saw very substantial wage gains, especially for working Americans and the average household. So I think they're going to look back to that. And again, Steve Ratner's charts very conveniently got truncated in 2020 on that.
So, Mr. Secretary, amid this discussion of costs and prices and affordability, how does a $20 billion bailout of Argentina help Americans? You're the president's point person on that. Can you explain to those here who are feeling the pinch, including America's farmers, why the United States is helping out Argentina?
Well, do you know what a swap line is?
It's a currency swap, yes.
Yes, but what is that?
You're the Treasury Secretary.
Yes, but why would you call it a bailout?
That is how...
In most bailouts, you don't make money. The U.S. government made money. We used our financial balance sheet to stabilize the government. One of our great allies in Latin America, during an election, the president there won in a landslide. The government's going to make money, and I would rather use peace through economic strength than have to be shooting at narco boats coming offshore if the government collapsed. We have a generational opportunity in...
See how he didn't want to talk about Argentina? Like the video. Fair use reaction clip.
Latin America to create allies. We just saw an election in Bolivia. We're probably going to see an election in Colombia. We've seen them in Ecuador. We're going to see them in Chile. So by stabilizing the economy there and making a profit, then that's a very good deal for the American people. And there's a lot we could have been doing for American farmers, but Democrats closed the government.
So how has the United States made money off of this? And you talk about trying to make more regional relationships.
Yeah, he was still trying to think of something to say. Like the video, fair use reaction clip.
States is shooting alleged narco boats in international waters off the coast of Venezuela. The United States has not provided evidence yet that those are indeed drug traffickers. So how are these two things working in tandem?
We are preempting the collapse of a government and going back to a Peronist agenda and a left-wing government. What if somebody had raised their hand and said, look at what's happening with Hugo Chavez, look at what's happening with Maduro, and they help the opposition there?
Yeah, hey, Mr. Secretary, I'm just curious, just to clarify, have we made our money back already from the Argentina bailout or the swap line or whatever you call it?
Let's see what he says. Like the video. There's about 285 in the building. Please hit subscribe and turn on your notifications. Let's continue. Let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes to 100. 100 people, double tap that screen to get the likes up.
Have we made that money back now? Are you saying we're going to make that money back from them over time? Like, what's the payout for that?
Jim, we already have a profit on that swap line.
Wow.
So have we given them? Did we transfer $20 billion?
So absolutely not. We made a line of credit available, and a small amount of it was drawn on, and we have made a profit on that.
On that so far. Okay, very good. Hey, Mike Barnicle, next question.
Yeah, Mr. Secretary, I hope this question doesn't.
So while federal workers weren't paid, while food stamps was what? Shut down, shut off, and they're giving what to Argentina? Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
I'll piss you off.
Well, I don't know. It's 4-on-1, but seems about right.
Well, okay. Yesterday, the stock market took a pretty good jump on news that the shutdown might come to an end. A lot of people did very well in the stock market, I assume, and I assume that you probably were one of them, and good for you.
That would be an incorrect assumption because I had to sell all my stocks to become Treasury Secretary.
You sold them all?
Had to, yes.
But you have a blind trust, I would imagine.
There's no such thing as a blind trust.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for straightening me out on that. But anyway, a lot of people did very well. Some people didn't do as well, but most people did. But there's an element to the economy that's always intrigued me in measuring the economy. And it's not a number, and it's not reflected in a lot of the economic data we talk about here and that we've been talking about with you this morning. It's called job insecurity. And in my experience, just going around leading a normal life, job insecurity is nearly at epidemic proportions among some people, especially people over the age of 50 or 55, especially with the advent of AI and the threat that poses to so many people in their jobs. What does the Treasury Department and the dollar itself in your job have to do with lessening job insecurity in this country?
Well, I think what President Trump is doing in terms of bringing back high-paying precision manufacturing jobs to the U.S. is all about job security.
How many jobs have come back?
Sorry, it's just starting. I was down in South Carolina, my home state. On Friday, there's a new rare earth magnet factory going up. 800 construction jobs, 300 jobs now. They think it may go up to 3,000. Boeing, thanks to President Trump's effort of selling Boeing airplanes as part of our trade deals around the globe, Boeing believes that President Trump helped sell up to 1,000 airplanes. The Boeing plant in Charleston is going up 50%. That's going to be 1,000 new jobs. So as we see these factories break ground, manufacturing comes back, I think there's going to be plenty of job security.
I'm Steffi, and this is the famous footwear that goes big.
Like the video. Fair use reaction clip. Like the video as you guys come in. Thanks for being here. Hold on, let's let the commercial go past. There's about 201 in the building. Please hit subscribe. We're trying to hit 50K by next month. Please hit subscribe. We're trying to hit 50K by next month. Let's continue. Fair use.
Hopefully you really don't feel like it's 4 against 1 here. But I'm curious. We have Axios, Jim Vandehei and Mike Allen. They come on an awful lot, and they've been looking into the challenges for workers that's going to be coming about with AI. Also, of course, as you know, robotics is upon us, sort of that robotics race. And so we're starting to hear anecdotally, Jim's starting to report on it as far as hard numbers go, about the challenges, especially for younger Americans, getting out of college, getting jobs because of AI, and especially white-collar workers. I'm curious, what is your view of that? What would you say to these younger Americans about what the world looks like, what the economy looks like in the United States over the next 5 to 10 years because of AI, and why they have reason to be hopeful?
Well, I think they have reason to be hopeful because we're laying the ground for a very strong economy and bringing back these precision manufacturing jobs. And these factory jobs aren't all jobs on the factory floor. They could be working upstairs, whether it's in the marketing, in the data processing. But I do think, I don't know how old your children are. I have one that's just a teenager, one that's a preteen, and I encourage them to learn about AI, to become AI literate. But in the history of productivity booms traditionally lead to job growth. So I would expect that over the coming months and years that we can see substantial job growth. We're seeing a CapEx boom in the U.S., and we've never had a CapEx boom that hasn't followed by an employment boom. So, but I think it's going to be for young people going into the job market. I think AI literacy and becoming, I think the term used to be digital native. I think you and I are probably of the age where we missed being digital natives, and I think in terms of being an AI digital native is going to be very important for all job seekers.
Right. Now, are your children listening to you? Are they actually? Because I keep telling my children to do that too. They say I sound like an advertisement for ChatGPT. Are your children actually doing that and becoming more AI literate? Because I think it's so important for all parents to tell their children that.
They seem to be enjoying the screen time. We'll see how it works out.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Mr. Secretary.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. Let's continue with the news. There's about 179 in the building. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the subscribe button. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting the channel. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. I was going to do that one, but I won't.
Joining us now, former California Senator Barbara Boxer, Democratic strategist, former Chief of Staff for Senator John Fetterman, and founder of the Searchlight Institute, Adam Jenselson, writer-at-large for The Bulwark, host of The Bulwark podcast, and MSNBC political analyst, Tim Miller, and New York Times Chief White House correspondent and MSNBC political analyst, Peter Baker. So, Peter, I was talking to Senator Kaine a little bit earlier, who is one of the Democrats that cut this deal, and I said this seems to be tearing the party apart right now, a party that seemed to finally find some unification after last week's off-year elections. He took issue with that and said, no, everything's pretty much just fine. This is just an argument that will get passed. But this does seem like a pretty big deal, and it's opening up the door to more calls, renewed calls for Chuck Schumer to step down.
Yeah, the timing of it obviously is rather striking, right? As you rightly said, they had until 24 hours ago felt like they were winning this thing. They had gotten the election results were overwhelming in their favor. Even Trump was blaming the shutdown on Republicans, saying that's the reason why they lost the election. He was undercutting his own Senate Republican caucus by saying they need to get rid of the filibuster, which they weren't willing to do. So instead of the story now being Republicans in disarray, it's Democrats in disarray. An old favorite, the one that seems to be appropriate at this time. It does seem to have kind of halted the momentum that they had for 5 whole days since the off-year election.
Senator Boxer, why? What do you think of this? Is this a good idea or a bad idea?
Meet Gym Monster 2, your all-in-one smart home gym. It's compact.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip.
Well, if you know the Senate, you can't be that shocked. I mean, I spent 24 years there, and we always had people who were not joined at the hip with any party or any doctrine. And, if I had been there just for honesty's sake, I would have held out until I knew these subsidies would be taken care of at the minimum. But the bottom line is the Republicans, want to destroy Obamacare. So there was no way that was happening. So here's the thing. I want to make a point. You can't come out of election night that was so incredible for Democrats saying, as we all did, we are a big tent. The New York City mayor is nothing like the governor of Virginia, and then be so shocked when some Democrats go their own way. That's the way it is. We're not joined at the hip, and we don't answer to, a cult leader. And it's not good. I'm not saying it's good, but it's the way it's always been.
Is this an example of a big tent, Tim? I mean, is this what your takeaway is?
Well, not exactly, but I don't know. I guess I'll be the contrary on this. I think that the Democratic senators handled this basically pretty well. You're playing chicken with the other. It's like you're playing chicken, and the other party wants to crash. You're never going to win a game of chicken against Donald Trump.
So why even get into this? I mean, they spent 40 days doing this. And I was talking to Senator Kaine a moment ago, and he basically laid out everything that they could have gotten if they never went into a shutdown. He was worried about SNAP benefits running out. Well, if they never went into a shutdown, SNAP benefits would not have run out. He was worried about federal workers getting laid off. Well, if they didn't go into a shutdown, they weren't going to get laid off. And so they spent 40 days saying this is all about health care, all about the ACA and these subsidies. This is the only point we're going to have any leverage on this. And then now they're like, well, we're going to have a separate vote, and the American public will get to see where Republicans stand. And by the way, it sounds like the House isn't even going to take it up.
I hear all that, Katie, but that was the best case scenario from the start. I mean, they had no choice but to do nothing. And here's the reality. If they wanted to get the healthcare subsidy extended, they need to win the election last November. The Republicans control all of Washington. Like, this expectation that the Republicans are going to wake up one morning and say, you know what, we're going to do the emergency Obamacare extension. You know, we're going to make sure that the subsidies for people that are early retirees are going to continue. It's crazy to think that the Republicans were never going to do that. And the purpose of the shutdown, to my mind, was to demonstrate to the voters as Democrats what their side was on this issue and what the Republican side was. There was not going to be a tangible policy. The Republicans never even came to the table. The House hasn't been in session for a month. Donald Trump never tried to negotiate. So I hear you. I hear everybody when they're saying that they wanted more, they wanted to hold out longer. But this is the longest shutdown in history. I remember back when I was a Republican, the Democrats and people like me and the establishment of the Republican Party said the Tea Party's crazy. Like, these guys at the Tea Party are extremists with the way that they are pushing these shutdowns. This Democratic Senate just held a longer shutdown than the Tea Party ever did. So, I mean, I just think that is about as much as could have been expected, given the real harm that was happening to people with the loss of benefits, loss of jobs, loss of salaries. Those people checking the bags, TSA, were working for free.
They spent 40 days doing it. So I guess the criticism would be, why not spend 20 days doing it? Why not spend 30 days doing it? Did it take, as I guess, Tim, you're suggesting, that much time for the American public to see where the Democrats stood and how they felt about health care, and to look at it closely and see that ultimately it was the Republicans that were stonewalling this issue?
I would have been fine with 30 days. That's not a very popular opinion out there. But yeah, that would have been fine with me. 30 days. I think the point was made. I think.
Adam, jump in.
Yeah, I mean, I think the strategy always had an end game problem, and sort of what Tim is getting at here. The Republicans were never likely to give Dems their big demands. I think if Democrats were going to cut this kind of a deal, it probably would have been a better idea to have done it a week ago, before the elections, gave everybody a renewed sense of momentum, before Trump started lobbying Republicans to get rid of the filibuster, and people like me were like, this is interesting, let's see where this goes. But, you know, I do think that there is an argument for claiming a win here. To drive a conversation about healthcare and make that a central focus, which is something they've been struggling to do for a long time. And look, if you want to be really cynical about this from a political perspective, by not extending the ACA subsidies, Republicans have set themselves up for a year next year that is going to be entirely focused on healthcare. And people's premiums are going to go up. Republicans are highly unlikely to extend these subsidies, which is part of why Democrats were demanding that they do it. But that's going to be all on Republicans. It's going to be 2017 when they made it all about repealing the ACA. Republicans have put themselves in a position where all of next year, going into the midterms, is going to be focused on people's premiums going up at the hands of Republicans in control of Congress.
I just wonder, Peter, in following Donald Trump for as long as we both have now, if he might have ended up folding on the issue of the ACA, if he might have ended up sounding a little bit more like Marjorie Taylor Greene, saying, of course people need this, and pressuring Republicans if the Democrats had continued to hold off. I know he was going on about the filibuster, but I guess I just wouldn't have been surprised if he ultimately came out and started sounding like he was siding on ACA extensions.
Yeah, I take Tim's point about not playing chicken with Donald Trump, but at the same time, I think you're right. I don't think he's ideologically wedded toward this position, and he's not very ideologically wedded toward a lot of things. He's willing to suddenly pivot and switch gears on a dime and try to pretend that it's consistent. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that he might have, in fact, given something on this. In fact, he was sort of nudging his way there on a couple of occasions, even in the last few days. He said, well, let's just give the billions of dollars that go to these subsidies to the people instead of to the insurance companies, and then the people can buy their healthcare, which, of course, I'm not sure where they buy the healthcare from, except from the insurance companies. I'm not quite sure what he was getting at there, but it did suggest a willingness or a possibility on his part of looking for someone.
Like the video. There's about 255 in the building. Please hit the subscribe button. Thanks for being here. Let's continue. Please hit the subscribe and turn on your notification. Let's continue.
Yeah. So it didn't look like he
was understanding at a basic level that healthcare is going to be a problem for Republicans.
Yeah, I think he understands that. But of course, he has said how many times he said he's got a plan or even concepts of a plan. He doesn't have a plan. Still doesn't have a plan. We're almost 10 years in at this point to the Trump era. We're still waiting for that plan. So I think you're right. I think he recognized this issue has not been a helpful one. As you rightly point out, I think Adam pointed out, or Tim, I apologize, but I think it was 2018, obviously, when that was made very clear to him.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. Like the video as you guys come in. Let's get the likes to 100. Please double tap the screen to get the likes to 100. Thumbs up the video. Double tap the screen, hit the thumbs up, please. Thank you. So we can continue. Let's get the likes to 100. Thank you. Let's get the likes to 100. Thank you.
Obviously, when that was made very clear to him.
Yeah, listen, I think it's a complicated issue. I think Donald Trump has figured out, maybe, or he will figure out it's a complicated issue. It's not so easy to solve, and there are a lot of Republicans that actually don't want to solve it because they don't want to continue to extend healthcare to, they just don't like the idea of socialized medicine. Senator Boxer, on the subject of the filibuster, which Adam brought up a moment ago, I think it is curious. What do you think would have happened if Donald Trump really forced that issue on Republicans?
Well, I think what they would have done is not done away with it completely, but they would have said something like, in the case of a shutdown, it's done away with. But look, they don't want to do away with it because the handwriting may be on the wall. They have given us the healthcare issue. And if I could say, we always had the immigration issue over our head because we couldn't get a bipartisan agreement on it. Now they've got this issue coming at them like another tsunami. And I do agree with those comments that were made. They are in a horrible state now, filibuster or not. They're going to be facing millions of Americans who can't afford the health care. And I have to just close with this. They're always saying, it's terrible. The insurance companies are making away like bandits. This is the first time I ever heard them take on the insurance companies. It is kind of a joke. Look at Medicare Advantage. It's all about the insurance companies taking Medicare for delivering a service. Never gone after this. So here's the deal. Hey, if Trump wants to be smart, which he will not do, he will say to the people who go to the exchanges, guess what? Why don't you buy into Medicare? Buy into Medicare. If you want it, we have it for you. But there's no way he's going that way. He's going to give $2,000 to people who don't need it. He doesn't know. And he's going to do it with tariffs. And that's not going to be happening because the court, I think, is going to say you got to return the tariff. So he's in a world. It looks like we're in a world of hurt. Yes, today is not a good day because we weren't united. But at the end of the day, we have the issues. The government is open, so we can't face some tragedy that was like on the brink of happening in the air or wherever.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. Like the video as you guys come in. There's about 187 in the building. Please hit subscribe. We're trying to hit 50K by next month.
Hill reporter and way too early host Ali Vitale, MSNBC's Laura Barone Lopez at the White House for us. Also joining us, PBS NewsHour co-anchor Jeff Bennett and MSNBC political analyst, former Democratic Senator
Thank you for the
John
heart.
Tester. Ali, the deal is through the Senate. What happens in the House now? As Senator Tester can attest to, after senators take a vote like this, after working through the weekend, they are out of town. I've seen many of them on their way to do just that.
Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate it. Let's continue. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Media 21. Let's hear what's going to happen now in regards to the shutdown.
Now this is a story that is squarely in the House. The House members are doing the opposite. They're trying to flood back to D.C. And one of the problems is one of the pain points that we've been talking about throughout this entire shutdown. The fact that we're seeing a decrease in the number of flights being able to take off, massive delays, a lot of cancellations, all because air traffic controllers and TSA agents are among those who have been working without pay over the course of the last 5 weeks. Of course, House members need to get back to town in order to end this government shutdown. Right now, our understanding is that Speaker Mike Johnson puts the earliest possibility for a vote tomorrow at around 4 p.m. But again, given the margins where they are and the fact that they're probably going to need all Republicans with a straggler or two Democrats to cross party lines and vote for this, attendance is going to be key. So we're likely to see that slip if we see that lawmakers' flights are being delayed or canceled. That's sort of the open question right now. Meantime, Senator, we are seeing a rift within the Democratic Party over this deal, and Senator Schumer appears to be taking the brunt of it. Politico had this quick roundup of recent reactions on the Hill. Senator Chris Murphy calling it a mistake. Senator Bernie Sanders called it a very bad night. Representatives Ro Khanna, Seth Moulton accusing Schumer of being ineffective and even calling for his removal. Senator Tester, as someone who has been there for some of these moments of division, do you think Schumer's role as leader is in jeopardy?
Well, I think it depends upon the Democratic caucus in the United States Senate, and I don't believe so. I think I've watched Chuck work in the caucus of everybody from Joe Manchin to Bernie Sanders' perspective. It's not easy, and he does a good job of that. Most people, in fact, nobody sees that except folks that are in the Democratic caucus. He was in a no-win situation. Remember the first shutdown, they were mad at him because he voted to keep the government open. Now they're mad at him because he actually voted to keep it closed.
Or are they mad at him now because he couldn't keep those 8 Democrats on his side to not reopen the government?
They might be mad at him for that, but I'm going to tell you, the Senate is different than the House. People in the Senate do their own thing. I was one of them that did my own thing. When Chuck would come up to me and say, geez, could we vote this way? I would say, no, Chuck, I can't. I have to represent my constituents. They do more of that in the Senate than they do in the House, I believe. And I think that you just can't control the senators like you can in the House. Those folks are running for office all the time. In the Senate, they're not. And I think it's a lot more thoughtful body, and it's a lot more difficult to control.
Jeff, does this deal, do you think, kill the momentum Democrats were feeling after last week's elections?
Not at all.
Well, that's certainly what you're hearing from
Yeah, Jeff, go ahead. Why don't you take it?
Yeah, that's certainly what you're hearing from some members of the base, that those 7 Democrats in the Senate and the 1 independent who caucuses with the Democrats did this deal on at the precise moment where Democrats felt as if they were winning the politics of this fight. That Democrats, many believed, had the moral and strategic advantage, and that more Americans were starting to feel the pain of this shutdown, and that they were blaming Donald Trump for the flight cancellations and delays for the 1 in 8 Americans who rely on SNAP money to put food on the table, and here comes Thanksgiving for the federal workers who are getting $0 paychecks. But Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia put it to me yesterday. He's one of those 7 Democrats who voted in favor of this deal. From where he sat, he didn't see that Democrats were going to have a better advantage or a better strategic position or more leverage a week from now, a month from now, and that Donald Trump was all too happy to let people starve effectively and to let federal workers to continue to collect $0 paychecks and stay on. Fired thousands of them. So from where he sat, it behooved him as a senator who represents millions of federal workers in Virginia to do this deal and to reopen government and to have an agreement to deal with ACA subsidies later next month.
So, Senator, you don't think this kills Democratic momentum?
No, not at all. I think Democrats have a tendency to overplay their hand. This puts the healthcare premium increases. This puts SNAP squarely on the Republicans. And the truth is that I don't know that they're going to fund Obamacare premiums. I don't know that they're going to fund SNAP. But the truth is, Republicans could blame the Democrats for this. Now they can't. They have majorities in the House and Senate. They control the executive branch. It's on them. We'll see if they're going to work for the American people or if they're going to work to implement Project 2025.
Laura, the president has not exactly been out there taking victory laps at this point. How does the White House actually feel about this deal?
The White House looks to be supporting this deal so far. On a White House official telling me that they were looking forward to seeing this bill progress, that the president wants the shutdown to end. But he was asked about this also last night on Fox News, and he was asked about what he thought about how Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer handled the shutdown. Take a listen.
Well, we're trying to put in a bill, as you know, a bill that you can never do that again. You can't just shut down the government because you're trying to renegotiate a deal.
What message do you have for Schumer tonight?
Well, I think he made a mistake in going too far.
Going too far, how?
Well, he just went too far. He thought he could break the Republicans, and the Republicans broke him.
So clearly, even though the president was not happy with the election results last week, feeling as though he seems to have won this round with Democrats and taking a jab there at Schumer, calling the way they handled it a mistake.
Allie, let's talk more about the health care piece of this. As part of this agreement, the Senate will hold a vote on the ACA tax credit issue next month. That is not necessarily the case in the House. Our colleague Michael Schnell asked Speaker Johnson if he would bring that issue to the floor. Let's watch.
Look, we're going to do in the House what we always do, and that is a deliberative process. I mean, we get find consensus on whatever the proposal is.
So will you bring it to the floor for a vote?
As you know, I do not guarantee the outcome of legislation or dates or deadlines or anything. I have to build consensus among the members, and that is what we will do.
But it's not
exactly as we have always done, exactly as I always do.
But it's not guaranteeing an outcome; it's guaranteeing a vote.
I can't guarantee that.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. Like the video as you guys come in.
Allie, what should we make of that answer? Aren't Republicans worried about health insurance costs spiking? So this has been one of the dynamics that we've been tracking that's foundational to why so many Senate Democrats are upset with where they landed here, because you'll remember a few weeks ago, Senate Majority Leader John Thune sat down with me exclusively and publicly floated the idea that he could guarantee his Democratic colleagues in the Senate a vote, but he could not guarantee them an outcome. And what Senator Tester said about the idea of potentially overreading the election results or overplaying the Democratic hand is certainly something that moderate Democrats who hobbled together this deal were keeping in mind themselves. They thought, and I'm reporting this out for a story that we'll try to put out tomorrow, that their Democratic colleagues were seeing the election day wins and sort of extrapolating too much from them and getting away from the idea of a bipartisan consensus that would need to happen in order to end the shutdown. When it comes to the ACA subsidies vote, Senator Jeanne Shaheen was saying to me and a small group of reporters yesterday that what she got in this deal is the ability to control.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. Let's continue.
Some way out, so that it didn't look like he was.
Or an understanding at a basic level that healthcare is going to be a problem for Republicans.
Yeah, and I think he understands that. But of course, he has said how many times he has said he's got a plan or even concepts of a plan. He doesn't have a plan, still doesn't have a plan. We're almost 10 years in at this point to the Trump era. We're still waiting for that plan. So I think you're right. I think he recognized this issue has not been a helpful one to him. As you rightly point out, I think Adam pointed out, or Tim, I apologize, but I think it was in 2018, obviously, when that was made very clear to him.
Yeah, listen, I think it's a complicated issue. I think Donald Trump has figured out maybe, or he will figure out it's a complicated issue. It's not so easy to solve, and there are a lot of Republicans that actually don't want to solve it because they don't want to continue to extend healthcare to, they just don't like the idea of socialized medicine. Senator Boxer, on the subject of the filibuster, which Adam brought up a moment ago, I think it is curious. What do you think would have happened if Donald Trump really forced that issue on Republicans?
Well, I think what they would have done is not done away with it completely, but they would have said something like, in the case of a shutdown, it's done away with. But look, if they don't want to do away with it because the handwriting may be on the wall, they have given us the health care issue. And if I could say, you know, we always had the immigration issue over our head because we couldn't get a bipartisan agreement on it. Now they've got this issue coming at them like another tsunami. And I do agree with those comments that were made. They are in a horrible state now, filibuster or not. They're going to be facing millions of Americans who can't afford the health care. And I have to just close with this. They're always saying, it's terrible. The insurance companies are making away like bandits. This is the first time I ever heard them take on the insurance companies. It is kind of a joke. Look at Medicare Advantage. It's all about the insurance companies taking Medicare for delivering a service. They have never gone after this. So here's the deal. Hey, if Trump wants to be smart, which he will not do, he will say to the people who go to the exchanges, guess what? Why don't you buy into Medicare? Buy into Medicare. If you want it, we have it for you. But there's no way he's going that way. He's going to give $2,000 to people who don't need it. He doesn't know. And he's going to do it with tariffs. And that's not going to be happening because the court, I think, is going to say you got to return the tariff money. So he's in a world of hurt, even though it looks like we're in a world of hurt. Yes, today is not a good day because we weren't united. But at the end of the day, we have the issues. The government is open, so we can't face some tragedy that was like on the brink of happening in the air or wherever.
Like the video, like the video. There's about 134 in the building. I hope everyone has hit subscribed. I hope everyone has hit subscribe. So right now, let's get to some hot topics, trending topics. What's trending? What's being talked about? I cannot believe, I did not know Kanye said this, did this. I did not know it. I did not know it. I did not know it. I saw it last night and I saw it again. Kanye West is something else. No wonder why she don't like him. Okay, so it's being reported that Diddy's picture has been released. Did y'all see this last night? I did. And I wanted to let everybody else post it before I posted it. His prison picture has been released. As we know why he's in jail, we know what the allegations were. We covered it. But this is the picture. That's why everyone was saying that his hair was turning gray. This is like the first actual picture that's been released since he's been in there. What do y'all think about the picture of Diddy being released? Because I said, why wasn't their picture released when he was in federal? So I guess their picture doesn't get released when they're in federal. It only gets released once they're sentenced, I guess. What do y'all think about the picture? And let's talk this too. There was allegations that Diddy allegedly was consuming alcohol. His team released a statement saying that's not true. Whoever posted that, whoever stated that, yes, it was reported from TMZ. Then TMZ tried to clean it up, but then everybody else was running with the story that they were allegedly making hooch alcohol, mixing sugar and Phantom, let it ferment for 2 weeks, and then allegedly they're trying to say he was drinking that. But his team has came out and said it's false. It's false news, don't believe it. So then, like I said, TMZ put it out, then they tried to clean it up, and his team has made a statement. It's not true. So there's that. It's being reported. Because remember, I told y'all a few days ago, I couldn't confirm or deny if Diddy really did have alcohol back in the prison. So people ran with that, and people now have to clean it up. And a lot of people probably won't clean up and say, okay, his team made a statement. It's stated it's not true. But here nor there, he definitely looks a lot older. Now, when he's where he's at, I wonder, could he dye his hair now? Can he get hair dye to dye his hair now? I don't know. But he does look a lot older. So be careful. Don't break the law. Okay, so these are the pictures from the event. And many people are calling Kim out because she allegedly is taking Halle Berry's. Oh, look, Kim, it's interesting how their team and Kim's team can't come up with new ideas. They have to copy an African American. What is up with her? Go look at the post. Kim is copying Halle Berry's look from a movie. It's interesting that she can't come up with her own looks. These celebrities, like I said, they stick together. Kylie's there. Where's Timothy? Kylie's there. Where's Timothy? So, did they say he didn't show up for her alleged party, and then he allegedly didn't show up for her mom's birthday party? Where's Timothy? A lot of people said they didn't see pictures of Timothy, but here nor there. Like I said before, Kourtney is the only Kardashian sister that got married, and they love to throw shade at Kourtney, drag Kourtney. I don't like how they treat Kourtney, and I don't like how they treat Khloe, but Khloe deals with it. Kourtney is married and happy with children. If she don't want to work and trend every week, she has every right. Look how they treat Kourtney. Pay attention. They don't do Kim like that. Look how they treat Kourtney. So if Kim was married, Kim would want to be celebrated for her marriage. Look how they treat Kourtney. Remember how they brought all that drama to Kourtney's wedding? Oh, she wanted to be here. She wanted the same singer. Is Kim and Khloe jealous of Kourtney? If Kourtney don't want to work like Kim and Khloe, she don't have to. So they want Kourtney to take a little bit off Khloe and Khloe. Sorry, they want Kourtney to take a little off Khloe and Kim. But Kourtney wants to be with her husband and her children. So let's continue with the pictures. Now, Tyler Perry has been trending a lot over this last year. Look that information up. Tyler Perry allegation, he's been trending a lot in this year. I can't confirm or deny what's being stated is true or false. Oh my goodness, go check this out. Tasha K just did an interview with Tyler Perry's friend. I can't confirm or deny what Tyler Perry's friend is saying is true or false. It was last week Tasha did an interview with Tyler Perry's old friend, and he's making a lot of allegations. I can't confirm or deny. Okay, so let's continue. So that is Kylie, Chris, Tyler Perry, and Mariah. Of course, Mariah is queen of the holiday season. So let's see how she do in regards to the holiday. Oh yeah, Tyler wants to be right next to Mariah to get that good press. Let's continue. Bill Gates showed up. Oh yeah, they want to be around billionaires, everybody. Real talk. They want to be around billionaires. Deny if this is Jay-Z and Beyonce going to Chris's party, or Jay-Z and Beyonce was going to the Brandy and Monica event. I don't know. But they're stating that Jay-Z and Beyonce was there. They didn't want to do the red carpet, but they're stating they were there. That's interesting too. Jay-Z's been also trending this year. I can't confirm or deny what the allegations are true or false. Yeah, she'll interview a lot of people, but I can't confirm or deny what she was stating is true or false. I'm just letting y'all know what's been talked about. Jay-Z's been trending in regards to the son is no longer able to file the DNA test, requesting Jay-Z to give DNA. That case has been dismissed. That young man can no longer file a case asking for DNA to figure out if Jay-Z is the father or not. Of course, Rock Nation has been trending as well. So go look a lot of this up. A lot of these celebrities want to go to different events to change the narrative too. Okay, so this is Mrs. Bryant. This is Chris. And of course, Ciara. Ciara's been doing pretty well. She came up with some new music, doing the latest dances. And Mrs. Bryant looks beautiful. So sometimes you got to be careful of news too, because Mrs. Bryant looks amazing. They've been trying to put out false information about Mrs. Bryant this year. So you can't listen to everybody in regards to, over here, we debunk stuff. Over here, I don't run with every story, and I'm glad I don't. But Mrs. Bryant looks amazing, and so does Ciara. Ciara been popping up them babies for the last several years. So now she's back dancing and singing. She looks amazing. So let's continue. They allegedly had Bruno Mars singing, and the police allegedly was called because of the noise. So the police was called several times because of the noise. I'm surprised they didn't have it in an event space. And why would they not think that neighbors wouldn't complain? You know what I mean? Why would they think neighbors wouldn't complain? I would imagine his house is probably really big. I don't know if he has like a basement and the noise just still radiate. I don't know if they're outside and he's singing, but of course, if there's a lot of people there, that's going to be a lot of noise for the neighbors. And of course, if they weren't invited, they're going to complain. You know what I mean? So Bruno Mars attended and sung at Chris's party. Let's continue. This is Mariah and somebody, I can't tell who he is, but that's Mariah and Chris. Okay, so Prince Harry and Meghan have been getting a lot of backlash because they're alleging that they want to work with the K's and the J's. Be careful, that's up to y'all. But a lot of people are giving Meghan and Prince Harry a lot of backlash because they've been hanging out with the Kardashians. But that's up to them. These celebrities stick together. Recently, I want to say last month or a month before, go look up Meghan Markle's recent outfits for the last 2 or 3 months. Were people saying she was wearing a certain item that we called out several times? I think they wanted to call out a certain brand. I think that was one thing that they were calling her out for too. But these celebrities like to trend and go viral. Of course, this is the outfit that, see, this is Kim and Meghan. So now they're saying that Meghan wants to work with the Kardashians to help trend go viral. This is the outfit that Kim wore. She's copying Halle. She'll do that. Kim will do something so she can not only just go to the event, she wants to trend about going to the event. Is Kim okay? Real talk. Is Kim okay? She's also been spotted copying Kanye West Bianca. She's been copying her. And then she talks about Kanye is the reason for her stress. But if you copying his wife, how could she be the reason for your stress? So this is Chris Rock, and Kris Jenner, and this is Kylie. Where's Timothy? If they're together, they've been together for 2 years. Where's Timothy? And then Kylie's been trending because they said she was intoxicated. Once again, this is Mrs. Bryant looking amazing. This is Chris, and that's Sierra. And then they said Oprah was there and Gayle was there. Okay. They're talking about Gayle has been trending because will she return on her show? Can't confirm or deny. But will Gayle return on her show? So we're just talking hot topics, trending topics. I know a little bit of something. So will Gayle go back on her show next year, or will she be let go? And is that why? Because Oprah's been in the news too. I don't cover everything about Oprah, but recently they've been spotted together. Remember, they were all in like really flowing dresses, and they was like, "Okay, Gayle, okay, Oprah, good vibes, bad vibes. That's on y'all." But now Gayle is dealing with whether she's going to be let go or not. Okay, so this is the K's and the J's. We often talk about role models, not role models. Of course, you can't tell who it is. That's Khloe. That's supposed to be Kourtney. That's Kim. See how she want to show her behind? She always want to show that. That's Chris. That's Kylie, and then that's supposed to be Kendall. Yeah, she likes showing that off. You notice that? Mm-hmm. Let's continue. Erica Clark and then Jason. Many people have been calling out Erica in regards to her recent hugs. I think it's on purpose. I think Erica wants to change the narrative. I do. But a lot of people are trying to support RIP to Charlie Kirk. Many people are questioning what happened that day. The people that attended the Utah event have been silenced. They are not to post no more videos. They are not to talk to the press. Allegedly, the courts have silenced and put a gag order for the people that attended that event. Did y'all hear about that? The people that attended that event are allegedly under a gag order. They are not to talk with the press, allegedly, and they're not to share any videos, and they're not to talk to the media, allegedly. There's a gag order. Why would there be a gag order? And where is all the information in regards to what happened that day? And why was the scene not taped off? Why were people able to just walk through, walk around? Why was that not taped off? There's videos out there of people just walking around. There was not a lot of police presence alleged. There was not a lot of police presence alleged. And alleged there was not a local or nearby ambulance that took him to. Why was that? Why wasn't there a local ambulance that took him to emergency? Why was his people taking him to the hospital? And why, if he was getting unwelcoming comments, why wasn't he more protected in the building? Because if you look at the video, he could have been in the building talking to people below. Why wasn't he not inside the building doing his conversation with the young adults? I'm telling you, if in RIP to Charlie Kirk, but if my husband is out and about speaking to and he's getting unwelcoming thoughts and comments, I'm going to do everything I can to protect my husband. That means any and all protective glass, detectors when people come into the events. Why was he more protected by his team? That's what everyone's been saying, and I've said it several times. Of course, like I said, this is the K's and the J's. Might be more pictures. Let's see if we can go through the pictures of who was there. Let's see. Let's continue. Okay, we showed this. This is her 70th birthday. This is Kylie trending.
Or you can only have one. I've already given you 3.
Is she upset that Timothy's not there and she's trying to change the narrative? Who's that guy with no shirt?
We actually could win. Come on, guys.
So they don't post a lot of their friends. It's normally the K's and the J's hanging out. So this is more pictures. Yeah, they don't normally post a lot of their friends. They normally are together with the sisters. So this is more pictures. Where was Timothy? Timothy wasn't in the car with Kylie. So if they're dating, why wasn't he there in the beginning or towards the end? So she wants to make it seem like, oh, I'm fine. I'm having a great time, but where's your man? And did he attend her birthday party? Many people are saying he didn't attend. It's almost like she's to support him, but he doesn't really support her in the way people are stating he should. Have y'all noticed that? Because wasn't there another thing that people were like, we're surprised he didn't send flowers and she didn't say thank you. I think it was for her birthday. And now he's not at the mama's birthday. So are they really good? And Kylie's to seem very happy and like she all right. And her man ain't there. This is the other thing too. Many people talk about, when do you ever see Timothy with her kids? Timothy hanging out with Kylie. Okay, let me do the single mom thing. Why isn't Timothy ever with the kids? And Travis is always with the daughter. Why don't Travis ever bring the son out and the daughter? Have you ever noticed that? When Travis brought out Kanye, it was Travis, the daughter, and Kanye. So why isn't Travis always bringing the son around with headphones like the daughter? That's questionable too. Something to think about. Have you ever thought about that? So Travis hangs out. Let me just say that. But why isn't Timothy with her children? So is he having a good time? But you notice anytime the Kardashians date somebody, the man is normally around the children, but Kylie's not allowing, it don't seem like it. And if they are, they don't post a lot of pictures about that. And I'm sure Timothy don't want to be on that show either. So there's that. Many people have said that Kris' face has settled. She looks beautiful. It is what it is. It is what it is, but they say she likes to cover up her hands because the hands still show the age, but she still looks gorgeous. And then sometimes they try and say they sometimes confuse Kris with Kim. Come on. People know the difference. Those Kardashians, are they okay? So, of course, this is the picture. And like I said, they love to throw shade at Kourtney. Kourtney's the only sister that's married, and they love to try and bring drama around her marriage. That's not okay, because if Kim was married, she would want that celebrated. If Khloe was married, they'd want that celebrated. But they bring a lot of drama to Kourtney and try to bring a lot of drama to her. Have y'all noticed that? I don't like how they treat Kourtney. And then people that's cool with Kim are saying, oh, Kourtney's annoying. Why Kourtney's annoying? Because she don't want to work the schedule that Kim's working. Kourtney don't want to work the schedule that Kim is working and Khloe's working. Kourtney is with her man and her children. Watch how they treat Kourtney. Look at all the drama that was surrounded her wedding, the dresses, um, the singer. Look at how they treated Courtney when she got married. But if that was Kim, that would have never happened. And then Chloe's still hanging around Tristan. People don't really care for Tristan and how he treated Chloe, but then Chloe decided to have another child by Tristan. Why is that? They want to have children by the same fathers. Kim, Kanye, all her children by Kanye. Courtney has Scott, and then she has one child with Travis, and then Chloe has two children by Tristan. Baby mamas, baby mamas outside of Courtney. See, I told y'all, Kim wanted to trend in regards to Halle Berry. Why can't she come up with her own ideas? Why does she have to trend with something in regards to an African American? Why does she have to trend? What is that? Cultural appropriation? She culture appropriates all the time. Remember her children Halloween costume? They did Snoop Dogg. They did Sade. They did Aaliyah. Kim loves to culture appropriate because she knows if she trends in regards to African American situation, she'll trend. She loves bringing up Kanye. She loves bringing up Pete Davis. She don't never really bring up Chris Humphries and her first husband though. She took this look so she knew she could trend with Halle. She took this look so she knew she could trend with Halle. More people at the event. And then she is allegedly, and then people are calling out Prince Harry and Meghan. Y'all royals. Why are y'all okay? Y'all do whatever y'all want. Y'all grown. Celebrities hang out with one another. Okay, so then if y'all did not know, Kim is trending because she's saying that there was a psychic that told her she was going to pass the bar. What? So Kim blamed Kanye for her health issues. Kim blamed ChatGPT that she failed because of the ChatGPT. Now she's saying that she spoke with psychics. She spoke with psychics, and the psychics told her she was going to pass the bar. Girl, go study. Stop blaming Kanye. This is the blame game. Stop blaming Kanye. Stop blaming ChatGPT, and stop blaming the psychics that they told you that you were going to pass. Go study, girl. Go study. Go study. Okay, so he's speaking about people made the decision to vote for Trump, and they wanted to vote for him because they didn't want to vote for her. Make a long story short, he stated that people will make the same decision to vote for him versus voting for her because of her culture or race. I don't know what culture or race she is, but that's what he's talking about. I'm trying to think if I should play it. No, I'm just trying to zip through. But go look at the video. It's on Hollywood Unlocked. He's talking about people voted for him, and now y'all complaining that y'all voted for him, but y'all just didn't want to vote for her. But people didn't really care for Kamala because they felt that it was a lot of word salad. She was repeating herself. She was talking about Trump, 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 and she wasn't making sense to a lot of people. Everyday people were like, Kamala, please do better in regards to your communication with people. Now, Kamala Harris spoke like Hillary Clinton, maybe, but people were not happy about her speeches and how she didn't make sense and how sometimes she wouldn't answer the question. Beautiful person, but people were like, they just didn't know how she presented herself. And then we really didn't hear much from Kamala in those 4 years with Biden. And then she came out and tried to shade Biden. Did y'all hear her interview recently? So this is another one. Go on Hollywood Unlocked and listen to that. So we're just doing some hot topics, trending topics. This is Trump talking to her about the office.
There's no paint that imitates.
So these aren't like from Home Depot or something?
No, this is not Home Depot stuff.
No, not the stuff you buy.
This is not Home Depot. The one thing with gold?
Why not
You can't imitate gold, real gold. There's no paint that imitates
So
gold.
these aren't like from Home Depot or something?
No, this is not Home Depot stuff.
No, not the stuff you buy.
This is not Home Depot. The one thing with gold.
So as people are struggling, this is what the Oval Office looks like before and after. He has a lot of gold in there. And then they're stating that he's not supposed to make a lot of changes like this during his presidency. Allegedly. Go look it up. In regards to being in the Oval Office, you are to come in and you only have a certain amount of time when you become president. You only have a certain amount of time to change the Oval Office. He's making changes during. And a lot of people are saying you're not supposed to do that. Go look that up as well. Like the video, fair use reaction clip. Please hit subscribe, you guys. There's about 200 people in the building. Please hit the subscribe button. We're just doing some hot topics, trending topics. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. So if I can get 50 people to please hit subscribe, we're almost at our quota for today. If I can get 50 people to please hit subscribe, we're almost at our quota. Yes, please hit subscribe and turn on your notification. So he's made a lot of changes, and they have stated that you are to come in when they shake hands. You are to come in, have your moving truck, and you only allegedly have a certain amount of time. Go look that up. You only have a certain amount of time to bring in the furniture you plan on bringing in. So he's made a lot of changes. Look at the difference. He's made a lot of changes. A lot.
The one thing with gold?
Why not
You can't imitate gold, real gold. There's no paint that imitates
So
gold.
these aren't like from Home Depot?
No, this is not Home Depot stuff.
No, not stuff you buy.
This is not Home Depot. The one thing with gold?
Okay.
You can't.
Let's continue with the news, hot topics, trending topics. This is Kim.
Letting you guys know that all of the psychics that we have met with and that we're obsessed with are all full of shit. They all collectively, maybe 4 of them, have told me I was going to pass the bar. So they're all full pathological liars. Don't believe anything they say.
So she
I'm just letting you guys know that
she believed in psychics to tell her she was going to pass.
Obsessed with are all full of shit. They all.
Let me go back.
I'm just letting you guys know that all of the psychics that we have met with and that we're obsessed with are all full of shit. They all collectively told me I was going to pass the bar. So they're all full pathological liars. Don't believe anything they say.
So she's going to see psychics now? Baby girl. That's some work.
Home, if you're waking up to this good news this morning, the Senate's vote late last night of 60 to 40 opens the door now. The Senate is moving forward on an amended House CR, a continuing resolution, that will reopen the government until January 30th. Added to that are provisions to fully fund SNAP provisions through the end of the next fiscal year, which is September 2026, guaranteed back pay for all federal workers who have been made to endure these hardships over the last several weeks.
Thank goodness.
And it also includes passage of 3 appropriations bills, which we're grateful to be moving through the process. That is the Military Construction and Veterans Affairs bill, it's the Agriculture bill, and the Legislative Branch bill. The Senate will be back in session this morning to finish their job, and we're certainly praying that they do. They'll need unanimous consent from all senators to fast-track their final vote. As you know, there are some procedural hurdles that one or more could throw in the way, but we certainly hope that they won't do that because so many people across this country are desperate for the government to reopen. At the very moment that they do that final vote, I will call all House members to return to Washington as quickly as possible. We'll give a 36-hour formal and official notice so that we can vote as soon as possible to pass the amended CR bill and get it to the president's desk. As you all know, and he said as recently as last night, I was with him, and he told the press, he said, we want to get the government open. He's very anxious to get the government reopened and to end the Schumer shutdown. We all are.
So let's play that again.
So here's where we are by way of schedule, just so you know, you're following. If you're not at home, if you're waking up to this good news this morning, the Senate's vote late last night of 60 to 40 opens the door now. The Senate is moving forward on an amended House CR, a continuing resolution, that will reopen the government until January 30th. Added to that are provisions to fully fund provisions through the end of the next fiscal year, which is September 2026, guaranteed back pay for all federal workers who have been made to endure these hardships over the last several weeks. And it also includes passage of 3 appropriations bills, which we're grateful to be moving through the process. That is the Military Construction and Veterans Affairs bill, it's the Agriculture bill, and the Legislative Branch bill. The Senate will be back in session this morning to finish their job, and we're certainly praying that they do. They'll need unanimous consent from all senators to fast-track their final vote. As you know, there are some procedural hurdles that one or more could throw in the way, but we certainly hope that they won't do that because so many people across this country are desperate for the government to reopen. At the very moment that they do that final vote, I will call all House members to return to Washington as quickly as possible. We'll give a 36-hour formal and official notice so that we can vote as soon as possible to pass the amended CR bill and get it to the president's desk. As you all know, and he said as recently as last night, I was with him, and he told the press, he said, we want to get the government open. He's very anxious to get the government reopened and to end the Schumer shutdown. We all are. So here's where we are by way of schedule, just so you know.
So there's the update. I hope everyone caught that. They're trying to reopen, and those people have about 36 hours to get back. Now, with flight concerns, that's why they're giving them time, because there's so many flight concerns. They need time to get to where they got to be. You know what I'm saying? They're having issues with travel as well. Like I said, Kim is utilizing Halle Berry to trend and go viral. I told y'all this too. This popped up again. About 2 years ago or a year ago, whenever someone was trending, Kim would try and go trend and be near them, by them, which was really creepy. If Adele was trending, Kim wanted to go to the concert. If Katy Perry was trending, she wanted to go to the event. When Usher was trending, she wanted to go to that event. If North could trend by watching someone, Kim wanted to have North trend. Those Kardashians don't like when other people trend over them. So what will she do? She will fly, she will travel to be next or by somebody that's trending. Kim does not want anybody trending over her. Kind of weird and creepy. And I was talking about that 2 years ago and a year ago. So when the Usher thing happened, it didn't trend like she wanted. So she went back with Chloe and Kimora Lee. Go watch. She didn't trend the first time she went to that Usher concert. She went back. She wants to trend and go viral if somebody's trending over her. Real talk. Look at the Kai Cenat situation. Kanye went to Kai Cenat, was talking about Kai Cenat. How that all started was Kai Cenat had ordered something and it was too big. And he was like, Kanye, these are too big. What's going on with the sizes? And then Kanye called out Kai Cenat. Kai Cenat, you're another African-American man. Why are you shading my business? You shouldn't be doing that. You should just be showing love and support. And Kanye was kind of like, Kai Cenat, you could have contacted my team. You did not have to put me on blast to shade me on your live stream. So then Kanye, I guess, sent him another size. And I think that size fit. What happened 3 or 4 months later? Kim had to put North near Kai Cenat. So Kai Cenat came to North's party. And many people keep calling Kim out too. Why are older celebrities entertaining North? Remember the Ice situation, Kai Cenat situation? People keep calling Kim out. Alleged. North will go to events alleged without Kim and without Kanye. Have y'all noticed that? But Kim has been called out in regards to that too. She'll have security, of course. North has security. But people are calling out Kim because North will attend events without Kanye, without Kim. Security will be there, but many people keep calling Kim that too. Many people feel that Kim needs to cut it out regards to North. They say she put North in unflattering contests, outfits. Sometimes Kim will put her in male outfits, so she'll trend and go viral. Sometimes she'll put her in outfits that's too grown, so she'll trend and go viral. So recently, North changed her outfit and she looked beautiful. North's a beautiful girl, but this is Kim putting her in media. And people are calling out Kim and Kanye. Kanye's no better because look at how Kanye will dress his wife. See-through outfits. And then check this out too. Remember Bianca's outfits? Kim, it seemed that she copied a lot of those outfits for that brand deal. Go back and look at it. And you know, Kanye's not going to say much. Bianca's not going to say much. So now I saw a picture of Bianca. I took pictures of it. I'll do a video later. Bianca's trying to come out with her own line. But before Bianca could come out with her own line, it looked like Kim took a brand deal. I'll do a video on it. I got pictures. Kim loves to copy Kanye's girls. Kim was copying Shani. Kim was copying Bianca. Go check it out. Check out the brand deal and what Bianca was wearing while she's been with Kanye. So how are you saying your ex got you all stressed out, but you copying the girl? Bianca will never clear up anything. Bianca's not on media like Kim. But here nor there. Stop culture appropriating. She needs to cut it out. She did this so she could trend about this situation. Because without trending about Halle, people would have said, okay, beautiful dress. Kim loves to culture appropriate with regards to the black culture. She do. And if y'all didn't see, if y'all just not coming in, This is the picture of Diddy. I need 20 more people to hit the subscribe button. We're almost at our quota for today. I need 20 people to hit that subscribe button. We're almost at our quota for today. I was only supposed to be live for 45 minutes, and I've been live for 2 hours and 14 minutes. I was supposed to be live for 45 minutes, and I've been live for 2 hours. But I had to get out all the news. Oh my goodness, you guys, we're almost out of quota. 20 more people to please hit subscribe and turn on your notifications. So if you did not see the picture of Diddy, this is the picture of Diddy in Fort Dix. Okay. I did not know Kanye said this. I did not know. I did not know Kanye said this. This is allegations. I can't confirm or deny if that girl has concerns with her stomach. But I didn't know Kanye said this. And then he was like, girl, it says something about BBB. I know you're texting me from the toilet. I know Kanye said that. We talked about Trump enough. I didn't know Kanye said that. And then this is him talking about the air traffic control. Hold on one second. Hold on.
Avionics and, technology for our control towers.
Who guarantees to Americans that travel is going to go back to normal once the government all the air travel
better than normal. You know why?
When the government reopens.
Yeah, sure. It'll be much better than normal because we're buying the most sophisticated avionics and, technology for our control towers. And we didn't have that. We had a guy named Buttigieg. Edge is the best way. Just say two edges, like off the edge of a cliff, which is where they were taking us, by the way. Edge was the Secretary of Transportation, and he spent billions of dollars trying to patch together our air traffic control system, which was a conglomeration of all different systems in all different cities. They had hundreds of companies working on it, and they were spending billions of dollars. And when they turned it on, it didn't work. It didn't even work a little bit. That's why you had a helicopter crashing into an airplane, that if we had a great system, bells and whistles would have started going off.
So let's see.
Who guarantees to Americans that travel is going to go back to normal once the government all the air travel
better than normal. You know why?
When the government reopens.
Yeah, sure. It'll be much better than normal because we're buying the most sophisticated avionics and, technology for our.
So let's see if that happens within this year. Let's see if that happens. Let's see if that happens. Let's see if people are getting the $2,000 check. Let's see if people are going to get the $10,000 check for air control. We'll see. Okay. So many people are giving Harry and Meghan backlash. Many people have talked about Harry and Meghan for the last 3 or 4 years. They have shaded them in regards to their projects. They have shaded them in regards to outfits. They're royals. So, of course, the K's and the J's want to be next to by because this is the next person that they want to be next to or by. It was for about a year. It was Jeff Bezos and Lauren. Now they want to get next to Harry and Meghan. That's their choice. That's their choice if they want to work with them. But let's see how that goes. Many people are talking about Kim's show. She's probably happy that it did not do well in the first week. It got the people talking. Now we got more people watching. And that's what they wanted. I told y'all this before. Benefits and embarrassment. What is this? 2 hours and 17 minutes. This is me talking about it because people like to take my same words. Benefits and embarrassment. They don't mind if people shade them because it gets people talking and it gets them trending and going viral. They don't mind. Back in the day, they used to try and be perfect. Or we look perfect, or we didn't have any procedures done. This is us. Look at Kim from 20 years ago. She was more Armenian looking. Now she don't look as much Armenian as she used to. Have y'all noticed that? Her little peak is gone. She looks totally different. Kim today, Kim from 20 years ago, she does not look. And why don't she culture appropriate with Armenians? Why does she have to culture appropriate with African Americans? Have you ever asked that? Okay, so Prince Harry, Meghan, good luck with that. Let's continue.
I'm sending them a $10,000 bonus.
Where's that money coming from?
I don't know. I'll get it from someplace. I always get the money from someplace regardless. There are a lot of them. I'm sending them a $10,000 bonus.
Where's that money coming from?
I don't know. I'll get it from someplace. I always get the money from someplace regardless. There are a lot of them. I'm sending them a $10,000 bonus.
Where's that?
So let's see if those people get that $10,000 bonus this month. He say a lot of stuff, but we want to see action. We want to see those checks go out. Let's continue.
And another thing that your administration is trying to tackle.
Please hit the subscribe button. We're 20 people away. Please hit subscribe, you guys. Please hit subscribe. Please hit subscribe and turn on your notifications.
Housing costs are still out of
20
reach.
people away.
And another thing that your administration is trying to tackle, many Americans, the average age of first-time home buyers are now up to age 40, which is sad. The country you and I grew up in.
I inherited that. Look, you have to understand.
Right, but let me get to the question though, because your
She's
housing
like, let me ask
director
the
has
question.
proposed something that has enraged your MAGA friends, which is this 50-year mortgage idea. So a significant MAGA backlash, calling it a giveaway to the banks and simply prolonging the time it would take for Americans to own a home outright. Is that really a good idea?
It's not even a big deal. I mean, you know, you go from 40 to 50 years. And what it means is you pay
30 to 50.
Something less. From 30, that some people had a 40, and then now they have a 50. All it means is you pay less per month. You pay it over a longer period of time. It's not like a big factor. It might help a little bit. But the problem was that Biden did this. He increased interest rates, and I have a lousy Fed person who's going to be gone.
Housing costs are still out of reach.
He loves talking about Biden. He loves it. So be careful if they try and put you in a 50-year fixed mortgage. Be careful on that one. See, it used to be 30, and you can do 30 because as you're 20, 21 years old, 25 years old, trying to pay off a mortgage, you can pay it off within those 30 years. Trying to pay it off in 50 years, go look at legal pages and go look at financial pages that talk about it'll be hard to pay off that mortgage as you age. So there's that.
Housing costs are still.
Go look it up. So of course this is Tristan. We don't really care for Tristan over here. He cheated on Khloe alleged how many times? He was on the boat walking into a hotel or a restaurant with a girl. He was out of the country holding hands with another girl, and she decided to have another baby with him. That's on her. Those Kardashian love problematic men. Kanye concerning. Tristan concerning. Scott Disick concerning. Travis Scott concerning. Lamar Odom concerning. They love problematic men. They love it. So that can trend and go viral. Chris Humphries, that whole marriage concerning. Chris's first husband concerning. Kim trying to date how many people? The Ray J situation concerning. I can't confirm or deny what Ray J saying is true or false, but Ray J is right now in a defamation lawsuit with the Kardashians because the Kardashians are saying what Ray J is saying is false. So a judge is going to have to decide what Ray J is saying if it's false. I can't confirm or deny what Ray J is saying is true or false, but the Kardashians are suing Ray J. And people are saying, is Ray J okay? People are saying, is Kim okay? People are saying, is Kanye okay? So here's the men. I wish I had my glasses on. Hold up, because I definitely want to see. I want to see who was there. And go back and check this out. Snoop Dogg talked about the K's and the J's, but he now hanging with them. Go check that out. Snoop Dogg talked about the Kardashians about 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And now he's at the event. Okay. So that's Snoop. I don't know who that man is next to. I don't know who that is. That's Tristan. And then the guy in the white, he looks familiar, but I can't think of his name. But these are some of the men at the event. And Snoop has been called out for how he's been talking about different situations. I'm not going to call that out because I don't deal with that over here. But Snoop has been called out a lot over the last 3 months. He was doing really well when he was covering the Olympics, but Snoop has been called out lately. But there's that. They had said Snoop was next to be called out and be dragged next. So there's Tristan. So Tristan loved hanging out with them too. Okay, so they want to show. So maybe this is his post. Maybe this is Tristan's post. That's why he's showing a lot of pictures of himself. No picture with Khloe, huh? You don't want to show a picture with Khloe? Interesting. Interesting. Not a picture with Khloe. They like keeping the men around. Remember how Khloe said Kanye's never leaving, Scott never leaving? And I guess that means you're never leaving. And Tristan said that means you never leaving me. Remember that? Ooh-wee. Okay, Vivica needs to heal. Let's listen to what she had to say. And then this is 50 Cent responding.
To chase after their dreams. Don't date 50 Cent, don't date no damn rappers.
She said, don't date 50 Cent.
Fire to chase after their dreams. Don't date 50 Cent, don't date no damn rappers.
She's like another Monique. She needs to heal from that. She needs to find, because she was in a healthy relationship. Her new man wouldn't want her still talk about 50 Cent. She must have really liked him because every year she brings up 50 Cent. It's been 20. I think 50 said it's been 22 years. Yeah, 22 years. She needs to move on. Girl, you need to heal, find a good old man and move on. And move on. Why is she still talking about this man every year? It's almost like a Monique situation. If she's in a healthy relationship, she would never keep bringing this man up. She must have really loved him. She must have really loved him. And he moved on, probably with somebody younger or somebody his age, but she must have really loved him. But every year she brings him up. That's almost like a Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon always talks about every year how he misses a Mariah. Mariah's moved on. She is not interested in all them kids Nick Cannon got. There's certain celebrities that want to trend and bring up the same old situation. See, it's easy for him to move on and date other women. You know what I mean? But it may be a little difficult for her to find a decent dude. She's still bringing him up.
Chase after their dreams. Don't date 50 Cent, don't date no damn rappers.
And don't date regular rappers.
Just so you know, it took me years to be able to laugh about it. Right.
Years.
I had to learn to laugh, not to cry, man. But I did it. Yes.
Laugh and not cry.
Fire to chase after their dreams.
And I tell you all the time, be careful who you date. Be careful who you date. She needs to heal.
So they're used for the people who really need them?
It's meant for people. And you know what it does is it really puts the country at jeopardy. People that need it have to get it. I'm all for it. But people that are able-bodied can do a job. They leave their job because they figure they can pick this up. It's easier. That's not the purpose of it.
So he's talking about Snap right now. I'm going to replay it. You guys, it's about 111 in the building. Please hit the subscribe button. We're trying to hit 50K by next month. We're almost at our quota, you guys. Let's continue.
So they're used for the people who really need them?
It's meant for people. And you know what it does is it really puts the country at jeopardy. People that need it have to get it. I'm all for it. But people that are able-bodied can do a job. They leave their job because they figure they can pick this up. It's easier. That's not the purpose of it.
So they're used for the people who really need.
So people are leaving their jobs to get SNAP. That's food. That's not cash. And there's certain restrictions. It's not like you can have a major savings in your bank account. They restrict you in so many ways. It's almost like you can barely breathe. And then they don't take certain car insurance, car payments in consideration. So you saying people are sitting up that they just want SNAP? They don't want cash in their pocket? What? And then most women can't have men in the house. The whole SNAP thing is crippling people. It's not helping a lot of people. More pictures of people at the event. Okay, this Klay Thompson thing is very, very interesting, y'all. Take a seat. This Klay Thompson situation is very, very interesting. Some people don't know. Let's do hot topics, trending topics. Megan has been dating Klay for she's been dating him this year. I don't know how many months. I can't confirm or deny how many months. But remember how it was Klay and Steph Curry doing amazing in the NBA. Doing amazing in the NBA. Let's look at his stats right now, baby. What's going on with Klay, y'all? I can't confirm or deny if it's what it is, but Klay's numbers are not good right now, y'all. What's going on with Klay? Go look at his stats from when he was with the Warriors. His stats now are just, people are like, what's going on, Klay? You all right? But he looks happy with Megan in the pictures. His numbers. From the Warriors to that, He didn't want to come off the bench. He also went to Dallas to play with. Okay. But like I said, he looked happy in pictures. So these basketball players love different celebrities. They do. So if you did not know, this is coming from Durant's page. Durant be posting a lot of stuff. I've noticed that. So there's that. There's that.
Back in when I found out.
Many people were surprised when they started dating. Well, we'll see what happens. Y'all see what's being said because I can't confirm or deny if that's true or false. Y'all can read it. I'm careful about what I read because I don't want people to say, oh, she said this, she said that. I can't confirm or deny it. This is what's really going on. But y'all see what's being said. Klay Thompson seeking a buyout. Okay. Well wishes to Klay. Okay, Wendy's, let's see. Y'all still eating Wendy's? They're literally closing about 300 stores after closing 240 last year. Some restaurants did not evaluate the brand. Be careful where you eat. Snoop Dogg being quiet gentleman, and he is a Kim Kardashian. So then Kim's going to talk about the psychic thing again.
A text from Snoop.
Question: is it okay if I smoke at the party? And I have a gift for Mom. I want to make sure she gets it. So just let me know if I'm okay to smoke at the party. I don't want to be disrespectful, but I don't drink too much. I like to smoke. So just let me know if it's cool.
What a sweet person to ask. Of course he can smoke.
Are you going to smoke?
No, I never smoke. Just got a text.
So go back and look at the post. Snoop was shading the K's and the J's. Now he rubbing noses. Go back and look at the video. Snoop Dogg talks Kardashian and talks about the men in their life. Now he's rubbing noses. How the celebrities will change and support one another. Go back and look at the video. Snoop Dogg shades the Kardashian women and how the men and how they struggle after dating. So these celebrities stick together when they need. Like the video, like the video.
Now everybody says, so what does that mean? Magnets.
Hold on, I'll replay it.
Example, China was going to hit us with rare earth. Now everybody says, so what does that mean? Magnets. If China refused to give magnets because they have a monopoly on magnets because they were allowed to happen over a 2-year period, there wouldn't be a car made in the entire world. There wouldn't be a radio. There wouldn't be a television. There wouldn't be internet. There wouldn't be anything because magnets are such a part. Now, nobody knows what magnets are, and not overly sophisticated, but to build a magnet system would take 2 years. So if I weren't able to say to China, look, if you're going to do that to us, we're going to charge you 158% tariff. It was 100% on top of 58%. And China called up immediately and said, we will make peace. And we made peace. We made a great deal. Example, China was going to hit us with rare earth. Now, everybody says, so what does that mean? Magnets. If China refused to give magnets because they have a monopoly on magnets because they were allowed to happen over a 32-year period, there wouldn't be a car made in the entire world. There wouldn't be a radio. There wouldn't be a television. There wouldn't be internet. There wouldn't be anything because magnets are such a part. Now, nobody knows what magnets are, and not overly sophisticated, but to build a magnet system would take 2 years. So if I weren't able to say to China, look, if you're going to do that to us, we're going to charge you 158% tariff. It was 100% on top of 58%. And China called up immediately and said, we will make peace. And we made peace. We made a great deal. Example, China was going to hit us with rare earth. Now, everybody says, so what does that mean?
A lot of his videos have been trending because people are like, what is he saying? What is he talking about? Bezos pays fine. So allegedly there was a fine. Let's see, Jeff Bezos pays fine of $1,000 per month to keep his hedges above the allowed height. Did y'all know that? He pays that much money because he wants to keep his hedges higher than normal. Because there's a certain amount that you can only have them. So isn't that something? He pays that fine per month. Wow. And his home is worth what? That's a lot of money. Let's continue. Trump Towers on Sunday claiming. Da, da, da. Yeah, we'll see if he gives people that $2,000. We'll see. It's being, I can't confirm or deny, but y'all can read that. Paris Jackson says she has a hole because of that. I can't confirm or deny if that's true, but that's crazy if that's true. Because I can't say that word. Oh, but let me continue. Okay, let me go back. This guy's freaking out. He freaking out because his babies are black. Wait, he freaking.
Happening right now! Are they my children? It's okay. Deep breath, sir. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Ma'am, it's all right. Just hold them.
They have black hair, they have black skin. What is going on?
Genetics can be.
They're not my babies.
Okay.
Please stop.
This man is freaking out because his babies is black. What happened? If they're in the room, oh my goodness, did y'all see this? Did y'all see this video? And a lot of times the babies will stay in the room with the mother. The babies will stay in the room with the mother. And they are crying that because of their children are black.
Happening right now! Are they my children?
It's okay. Deep breath, sir.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Ma'am, it's all right. Just hold them.
They have black hair, they have black skin. What is going on?
Genetics can be.
They're not my babies.
Okay.
Please stop. Happening right now. Are they my children?
It's okay. Deep breath, sir.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Ma'am, it's all right. Just hold them.
They have black hair, they have black skin. What is going on?
Genetics can be.
They're not my babies.
Okay.
Please stop.
Okay, y'all. I don't know what happened. I don't know when she had them. I can't confirm or deny if this is real or fake. I always have to protect my page. I can't confirm or deny if this is real or fake. Because a lot of times when the children are born, they stay in the room with the mother. They take them to NICU if they have to take them to NICU, if they have to take them to the baby, whatever, the nursing center. So I can't confirm or deny if this is real or fake. But this guy is freaking out because his baby turned out brown. I can't confirm or deny if they switched him. I can't confirm or deny if she cheated. I can't confirm or deny if it's genetics and they came out brown. I don't know what's going on. I'm just showing y'all that this video is out there. What has happened? I don't know. If I can follow the story, I'll try and follow it. You can go look up this video. If they repost something, or if he says, a lot of times TikTok and people will do pranks. I can't confirm or deny what's happening. I don't know if the children left the room, they brought them back. I don't know if after she had the twins, they cleaned them up and then handed them to her. I don't know. She crying, he crying. I don't know what's going on. Like the video. Let me know in the comments. Have y'all seen this? I seen it and I had to show y'all. Well wishes to the mother. I don't know if this is a prank or if this is real. I don't know. If we follow the story, did she step out of her relationship and have the children? Or did they swap the babies? Or this is really genetics? I don't know. They do look brown skin and their hair is gorgeous and silky. I don't know what's going on, but I saw it and I had to show y'all. Beyonce and Tina. Let's continue.
Where's Erica?
This is him giving Erica a kiss. That's Erica giving him a kiss. Blueface is setting the record straight. I ain't gonna talk about that. She telling Ray J he need to take a bath.
I don't know.
It smells like, no, I can, you're fucking dirty.
I'm about to go take a shower right now.
How long has it been? Be honest.
How long?
It's been, what, 2 days?
I don't know.
It smells like, no, I can tell it's from the lot, like when.
So Ray J being called out. Lately he been talking about smells and women's smells. And now he smells. And she calling him out because she said, you still smell like the time from that situation. I got to be careful what I say. Is Ray J okay? Is Ray J okay? He right now being sued by the Kardashians. Then he did a video saying he can't confirm or deny what he said was true or false because he lied so much. Now he going around stinking. He just reconnected with Brandy on Brandy and Monica's tour. Now he going around, he not smelling good. What's really going on with Ray J? He was doing good when he was doing his earbuds. But now, what's really going on with Ray J? Why does he smell? Why is he not taking care of his hygiene? Oh my goodness. I'm going to stop there. I got some places I got to go. Hit the subscribe button. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged, in our opinion, and for entertainment purpose only. I hope everyone has an amazing day. I hope you enjoyed the show. I've been live for 2 hours and 39 minutes. I was only going to be live for 40 to 45 minutes. I've been live for 2 hours. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. I hope y'all subscribe. Continue to get the likes up, you guys. There's about 190 in the building. Can we get those likes to 100? Can we get those likes to 100? Hit the like button. Please double tap at that screen. There's about 190 in the building. If all 190 subscribe, I'll meet my quota. Let's get the likes to 100, please. 30 people to double tap that screen. 30 people to double tap that screen to get the likes up. All you have to do is hit the screen and it'll give you the thumbs up. Please, let's get the likes to 100. Let's get the likes to 100. If you already subscribed, thank you. If you already hit like, thank you. Can we please get the likes to 100? Thank you. Let's get the likes to 100. See, and now people want to exit after they got my tea. But people can't hit the like button? That's some crazy work. That's some crazy work. Not a super chat, not a membership. Super chats are welcome. Memberships are welcome. So people done gathered the tea and couldn't get me over. And it's free to hit the like button. It's free to hit the like button. So I'm about to go, but thanks for being here, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the show. We got to do better in regards to likes. So I might start slowing the show down until I get the likes up, because that's what other people do. Some people, they don't start the show until they get a certain amount of money. I don't even do that. But it's cool. I'm a slow the show down so we can get the likes to where we need to be. That's what I'm going to start doing. Have a great day, everyone. Be blessed.